Hello and welcome to another See You Next Thursday ahead of the new year. So next time you'll hear from us, it'll be 2023. So happy New Year to anyone that if it's you're listening to this afterwards. Right, and today we've got, of course, Seamus, our Irish correspondent,
Top of the morning, lads.
and of course Sport Billy as well is back again to grace us with his presence.
Merry Christmas, chaps.
We nearly didn't have Billy. This is why we're running a bit late. I'm apologising for the lateness. It's because Billy's useless and he's going to blame his Bluetooth headphones. But we all know what the problem actually is. And it
Me
begins
brain.
with a B. Yeah, so, anything you got anything to say? You know, you had a good Christmas, you two? Anything?
I have been full flu all Christmas. I've got this Liverpool lady, they're calling it. You just can't stop coughing, and I've been like that. I haven't been out for a drink since a week Wednesday. And all week yesterday, yeah, was the last time, only time I've been out. The Liverpool lady, they're calling it. It's really bad. Everyone's got it in Liverpool. I don't know what it is. Some sort of flu virus.
Yeah, it probably comes from. It's probably Everton are using as an excuse for being shite, isn't it? This season.
They have a bit of a virus at the moment, aren't they? But
they're playing like they've got a virus. Let's be honest.
I know, yeah, they are.
Well, we'll talk about them a bit later. So we'll move on to Seamus. What about you, mate? Did you have a good Christmas? Obviously, you don't really celebrate it, so it's probably just been another day to you, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's just another cold day. That's the thing. Whether you celebrate Christmas or not, it's fucking cold in the northern hemisphere.
Here it was brilliant. It was just a massive street party that went on for like 3. Well, it still hasn't stopped, to be honest. But I've had to stop a few times to sleep. Other than that, that's it. Just non-stop street party. It's still going.
All right, very good.
Yeah, no, I was knackered. And I'm like, Christmas Eve, like, you just can't sleep from like, it starts at about 6 o'clock in the morning. It's Christmas Eve, and then it still hasn't stopped yet. I was like, oh my god, I need to sleep.
Right.
So basically, you actually weren't interested in our Christmas. You just wanted to share your Christmas.
Yeah.
No, never. Oh, well, it's so...
So a big celebration there, Tricia. I know it's Catholic, isn't it? Very Catholic, is it?
Yeah, well, they start what they call it the Bear Month, which is September. They start the build-up from then on. So you can guess how big it is when they start a build-up 3 months in advance, like.
All right.
Oh, it's huge, mate. I mean, you've never seen anything like it. Literally everyone is out in the street partying. Fireworks going off. Kids running around playing games and that. It's really nice, actually. Yeah, it's really nice.
Oh, good.
Bit cold, though, apparently. They've all been saying and complaining. They're all wearing jackets. I'm still pouring with sweat because it's 25 Celsius, but they're all sat wrapped in frigging coats, which is annoying.
Right.
But yeah, so it's been nice, yeah.
Oh, good stuff, mate.
Yeah,
well, speaking about celebrations,
avoid the lurgy.
I might need to, mate.
Yeah.
So, anyways, if we are gonna speak about celebrations, people
good
partying and everything, then we should probably start with
brilliant segue.
FIFA World Cup.
Yeah.
I'm
really surprised me.
Because you're going to do the Martinez taunting Mbappe one, aren't you? Hey, celebrations. Brilliant segue, Seamus. I'm really impressed. Baz has taught you well.
So, anyways, who among us had Argentina? Did
Not
anyone?
me.
Before it started, no, we all said they were strong, but none of us said fancy.
We did like I think if people look around the internet, we did the best preview possible.
Oh, brilliant!
We had the best tweet rate. So I'm just saying, who among us had Argentina?
Not me.
Who said they're a good team? Who said they're a dark horse? Who said they're gonna win?
No, I wanted them to lose because of Messi. That's why. We were hoping they wouldn't win it. Well, I certainly was because of Messi. But I must say it was a really good World Cup, you know. It was a really good World Cup, and I wasn't looking forward to it.
Are you allowed to say that you didn't want them to win because of Messi? You have to say Messi's a saint, don't you? And the greatest of all time because he's won one World Cup. Yeah. Apparently that makes him better than Pele, who won how many? Was it 3?
Yeah. Absolutely no chance. But absolutely it is. It's hard to compare eras anyway. Exactly. But for me, Pele, Maradona, Cruyff, still well ahead of him. But that's just it's down to personal choice. But them 3 are ahead of him as footballers and certainly as people. But even though Maradona was a bit of a mess as well. But but I thought it was an excellent World Cup. Some of the games were good. The venues looked very good. I know they're all temporary structures, well, most of them except one. But I thought it was run well. I thought there was no crowd violence. There was no fighting on the streets, and everyone seemed to be enjoying themselves. And I thought it went off a lot better than I thought, to be honest with you.
Can I just stop you there? You said there's no crowd violence, no fighting on the streets. Yeah, but that's because there was no fucking crowds. I mean, the only teams that had crowds actually paid for their fans to go over there, so they went over there for free. Was it Ghana or someone like that actually brought over a load of fans on free tips? Because that was the only way anyone was getting there.
There seemed lots of crowds at all the games, Chris, for me.
We're half empty stadiums, mate. They were just positioning the cameras well.
Alright, it looked good to me, I must admit.
There's footage of the, where you could see massive gaps.
Not the ones I watched. I didn't watch all the games, I must admit. I wouldn't be watching like Qatar against Morocco or something like that. I wouldn't be watching that. But
it's clever photography, basically. They've just, they set up the footage so you don't see the gaps.
All right, it's okay.
They put the people in the spaces where it's like going to you go to WWE and they set up, the crowd to suit the, to fit the cameras. Like they put all the pretty people in, where the cameras are going to pick them up. Because I know, because I took my daughter to a WWE event because she used to love it when she was little.
Yeah.
And they put us, obviously, because they wanted us right in the front, again, in the middle where the cameras would pick us up, because obviously, they wanted the best looking people where the cameras go.
Obviously.
Yeah. Actually true. It's incredible to say. It just says how ugly the rest of the crowd must have been. I was considered the pretty one, But yeah, they do a lot of, they shift, they put the seating in where, people seat where the cameras will be focused, you know what I mean? It's
yeah.
They weren't selling all the tickets, but you can't expect them to. It's a bit out of the way. It's expensive to get to. It's an expensive place to visit, and you couldn't drink, you couldn't be homosexual, you couldn't. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's what I didn't like about it. There were certain things I didn't like about it, the LGBTQ plus issues, and I didn't like that, and I hated what happened to the migrant workers. But as a World Cup, I thought it went off very well and was very successful.
What about you, Seamus? What did you? The only game I actually watched, I've got to be honest, the only full game I watched, I watched, there's like a lot of stuff I read it, and saw that a lot of people complaining about how the stadiums were empty, and then showing the footage from other angles, journalists and that were at the games. The only game I actually watched was the final. Other than that, I didn't really watch anything. That was a cracking match after France scored, but only after France scored. Before that, it was shit.
Well, France were, certainly for the first 80 minutes, they were absolutely awful.
And the game wasn't good until then. That's why I'm a bit shocked that people are saying it's the best game ever. I'm not sure about that.
No, I don't think so. But it was certainly entertaining, and especially the extra time, and I thought was very good. Go on, Deep, I was asking you how you got on with it, mate. How did you find it?
But Chris knows I didn't watch a single minute. He's just trying to say that
Yeah.
he's infinitely more wise than me because I watched nothing and he watched one game.
I watched one more than him, so.
You
Did you
watched
watch
infinite
one
times
game?
more than me.
Did you not watch one game, Seamus?
No, not a single minute live. Nope.
I know, doing a football podcast and he didn't watch any of the World Cup. It's so bad, isn't it? It's disgraceful.
And I even had the guts to say it out loud confidently and like I've achieved something or whatever. Shameless. Seamus is shameless.
Seamus, yeah, that's right, Seamus, yeah.
He'd fit in as Seamus, I'd say.
But if you really want the whole truth, I still haven't even watched the highlights of the final, let alone anything. The only thing I know is the one save that Martinez made right at the end.
Do you know what well, I think we may as well talk about him as this what we were starting to do. Like,
Yeah.
I was gonna say, I think he's he's getting all this reaction. They're going on about him like he's some kind of world class keeper who made world class saves. I'm not impressed with him at all, to be honest. I don't think he's a bad keeper, but I don't think he's a great keeper. I wouldn't have him in like top goalkeepers.
They're asking now, is he going to stick with Aston Villa? I think they've got a cheek and think he's punching above his weight at Aston Villa. I don't think he's a good keeper at all. He's alright. He's alright. He's the second tier, what I'd call a second tier keeper. He's not one of the best who you'd say, I would love him in my side. He's alright. But I didn't like all his antics and all that, but I don't like that anyway, gamesmanship.
How can you taunt a player afterwards, though, that scored a hat-trick against you? I mean, that's embarrassing. That just makes him sound like a tit.
He does, yeah.
And he was just like, didn't come home for weeks because how long is he back yet even? Because he was still like celebrating, and I mean, you suppose you're gonna milk it when it's the only chance you'll ever have of winning anything. Let's be honest.
Yeah, but he just seems like a bit of an idiot to me. But most keepers are, to be honest with you. But he does seem a bit more of an idiot than the usual run-of-the-mill idiots.
So more of an idiot than, say, me and Seamus, that kind of thing. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, about the same.
Come on, that would be like comparing apples to oranges. Like, come on, we are like the epitome of human species when it comes to wisdom and etiquette and everything. Come on, like.
I'll give you that then.
I think our picks before the World Cup started showed how much we know about anything really.
Yeah. Who did we all go for? Can you remember? Did you write it down?
I can remember.
I think I went for Brazil and expected
Chris went Brazil. Yeah, Uruguay as dark horse.
I think I went for Spain.
Yes, you did. You went for Spain. You thought they were going to walk it.
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
But they didn't even.
Yeah, but I think I can top. No, I think I can top both of you guys. Like I went for Germany.
Oh yes, you did.
Yeah, went out in the group stage, and I went for Serbia as Darkos, who also fucking went out in the group stage.
And didn't you go for the Vlahovic to be one of the star men as well?
No.
That was
Chris.
He thought he'd be out injured for it.
I went for Rafa Leao to be the top goal scorer, but the fucking coach didn't play him.
We never
So it's all the coach's fault. Not that he wasn't good enough to get in the team then.
Have you seen him play? Rafa Leao is the Portuguese version of Kylian Mbappe. Pace, power, physicality, everything.
He's not quite that good, but yeah, I know what you mean. He does deserve to be in the team. I was joking. I was just winding you up, mate, because I agree with you. I think he should have been first choice. Don't understand to leave him out.
We're all looking forward to maybe seeing Ansu Fati, but he never appeared, did he, really?
No.
Yeah, but he was coming out.
One substitution
back from injury.
Yeah, he's still struggling. He's had really bad knee problems for the last few years, so he's still, he went basically for the experience and to get him training with the Spanish team and all that, basically. Really, rather than...
Yeah.
He was never expected to have to do more than maybe be a Impact sub. But they
Right,
weren't
okay.
even given a chance to be that because they went out. So.
No. We don't influence managers much, this podcast, do we? Really?
The one we did say we were looking forward to see, both me and Deep said Enzo. So we did do alright there.
Yeah.
We got one thing right because he turned out to be young player of the tournament, didn't he?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. He's done okay for himself. There's a few things come up because of the World Cup. There wasn't a few things that not so good about the World Cup. Like the row with Benzema and Deschamps, and a few bit of nasty stuff come out of it, I'd say. Do you want to take that up, Trish, about what happened with Benzema and Deschamps?
Hey, you two are getting a bit professional at this. What's with all these good segues coming in, eh? Hey, this is good. I'm impressed. Yeah, he got sent home, they say. But he'd been to be fair, he'd been struggling with injury all season, not been playing well. Still got called up, but then when he was there, he got injured again anyway. So they had a look at him, and Deschamps said he's not going to be fit to play, in the World Cup, not going to be fit to play any part. So they sent him home. But almost as soon, he got home and he's playing a friendly for Madrid not so long afterwards. 30 minutes only, but it's still, it shows he could have played. And now his agents come out saying they knew he'd be fit to play from the quarterfinals, but he was sent home anyway. And Deschamps knows why and all this, and Deschamps should tell why he sent him home. But I mean, everyone knows what it was really, because the rest of the squad hate him.
I like him, yeah.
He's detested. He is. I mean, the thing with Valbuena hasn't gone away. Let's be honest. He blackmailed his mate.
No.
So he can come out of all the bullshit he wants. But let's be honest. We all know what happened. He told his mate to pay his real mates, his old school gangster mates, money to hide a sex tape that they got of him, which came from Benzema's fault that they got the sex tape in the first case as well. It's got to be remembered because it was him that told Valbuena to take his phone to them to be fixed, knowing what they do. And this is how they make money as well. So he knew they do this. So why tell him to take his phone to him in the first place? Everything just seems like he'd be setting him up for me. And basically the whole French squad hate him. He's now thrown a strop and he's unfollowed them all on social media. I think there's 5 he hasn't unfollowed from the entire French squad, and half, and people that are have played for it, like Pogba and that. But I mean, Lloris and Griezmann apparently went to Deschamps and said we don't want him. We want him out.
Right.
Among others, I think there was 4 or 5 of them went to Deschamps and said we don't want him in the squad. You need to get rid of him. He's a problem.
Yeah, it's very tricky, I think, what I've read about it. The Albanian French, of which he's one of them, tend to stick together and don't have much to do with the rest of the French squad, what I was reading.
It is very clicky. But, I mean, Benzema's a problem anyway. Is he the Algerian, not Albanian?
Oh, is the Algerian? Sorry, I thought it was Albanian. It might be Algerian, yeah.
I can't remember now. I can't remember now.
He's Algerian.
It is.
Yeah, he's Algerian. Sorry,
I was going to doubt myself then. Anyway, so they do tend to, they're tricky and that, and he's still hanging around with gangsters he grew up with. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
Sometimes you've just got to say, get yourself a bit of distance, haven't you? When you're
I think his childhood best friend is one of the.
Who's one of the blackmailers?
Head honchos of a gang, and also happens to be his brother-in-law or something like that.
Yeah, exactly. It's
Yeah, but to be fair, if you're going to make it as a professional sportsman, really, you need to distance yourself away from people who are not good for your career. I think so anyway, but obviously it doesn't suit him. But I think the same got said. I'm not comparing them in any way, but Ross Barkley at Everton had to get away because of the company he kept, and that's what held his career back, and he had similar problems with associates, not the same as Benzema, obviously, but he had similar problems.
So you can end up like Pogba, where they come after you with guns and that at your training ground. Though is the problem when you do distance yourself too much. It's a tough line, it's got to be said. It is a tough line.
Yeah, it is. It is a fine thread.
When even your own frigging brother comes at you, comes after you for money with a gun in his hand, you've got to say that.
Yeah.
This world's a bit of a mess, isn't it?
Absolutely, sis. Absolutely.
But at the end of the day, do we think Deschamps was right to send Benzema home? That's the big question, really, isn't it? Did he do the right thing?
I think he did, personally. For the simple reason, the book stopped with him. They never won the World Cup, but I don't think it was because of Benzema. But the manager's got to make them decisions. And to be honest with you, I think his worst decision was actually taking him to start with if he was a risk. I don't think he should have been picked.
Well, he hasn't been fit all season, really. He's been...
that's what I'm saying. I'm surprised he actually got in the squad,
Yeah, it's a straight... That was the mistake, I think.
Yeah, for me it was.
Yeah. I can understand why you'd want to take the chance, but he's bad for team spirit.
Yeah, and it goes a long way, team spirit, doesn't it? It really does.
Yeah, I think it's the most vital thing. I mean, that was the difference. They were all rallying. Argentina, they were all there playing for each other.
And Morocco, who done very well, they had a great team spirit, a great team ethic. And, they punched well above the weight. But good luck to them because they were all together. They all played as a team. Every time they scored, they mobbed each other. And it was really good to watch, actually, the comradeship from the Moroccan players. And I think that sometimes is lacking when you've got a lot of superstars in teams, and I think it does affect the team.
It had always been an issue with you only have to look. I think Cav just thought the perfect example, Man United with Ronaldo. You can see how it can adversely affect it, because I mean, if the player isn't the best player on the pitch every time, the star man, and he's getting preferential treatment because he's the star man. You just end up with it all collapsing around him.
It turns toxic, doesn't it, the dressing room? And I think that would maybe would have happened with France if Benzema had have been part of that squad. Playing part of that squad.
Yeah, I'm sure it would have. I mean, he gets away with it in Madrid because they don't take any notice of what players get up to off the field.
No. What did you think, Deeps?
Just before I say anything, there's a little bit of complaint about Billy being a bit too loud and Chris being a bit too quiet.
Where's that?
All right.
Where's that? Has the chat's not come up for me? Why hasn't it come up?
Do you want me to lower my thing down, Deeps? Do you want me to lower mine down,
Sorry, I'll turn it down. Don't worry on the...
Oh, can you turn me down, Chris?
I can turn you down, not a problem.
Okay, turn me down a bit.
Is that better?
Chris has been turning you down for years now.
Yeah, but it's just the way you're used to people turning you down, aren't you, Bill? It happens every night.
Yeah, it's happened a lot of times to me too, so be honest with you.
Mine's quiet, is it? Right. I'll turn mine up. Sorry, carry on. I'm just adjusting the mic settings while we're doing it. While you two carry on. Sorry.
What are we talking about?
Deeps, what did you think about the Benzema incident?
No, it's just like, come on. You either, like, as Deschamps, you either shouldn't have taken him to begin with, because these issues just didn't come out of nowhere. They were long-lasting issues.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is something that's been a problem for years. They've known about Benzema being a problem. Why even take the risk?
Yeah. As you say,
if it was like last season when he was on absolute fire, fully understand it. You take the risk because he could change it for the better. But this season he's been very poor. It doesn't make sense.
Mm. No doubt about his ability. He's a very good, very good player. But as I say, it's disruptive to the squad. Do you really want a player like that in your squad? I don't know. As you say, your comparisons with Manchester United, things turn toxic, and I don't think it's good for the squad, the morale, and the performance of the team. That'd be my problem with Benzema.
Yeah, but I think at the end of the day, it worked quite well for France, not having Benzema there.
Yeah, yeah,
I think, like I've said it before on the pod and behind the scenes as well. Like, I think it just refocused the whole French team towards getting the best out of Mbappe. And my
yeah.
God, is he a player?
He's a
Yeah,
player, isn't he?
yeah. If you're gonna pick one player that you're gonna throw your weight behind, it's Mbappe, isn't it? Let's face it, he's the best in the world right now.
Yeah,
Well, it's not even close as well. That's the thing. Oh.
yeah.
Oh,
Like
come on! Like certain sections of the internet is probably going to lose their mind when they find out that you're saying he's the best player by quite a mile.
Oh yeah, we're gonna have people complaining about that, aren't we now?
Yeah.
yeah. Sir Lionel might complain.
Yeah, and all his
Yeah,
friends.
and some Arling Holland nut jobs as well.
Yeah, Seamus's friends, will be telling him off.
Yeah, like you can use the word friend.
Yeah, 'cause I was
And that S is
misusing the
just
word, I think.
yeah, yeah, that S is just too much. Like you could have just made without it.
Right, so have we anything else to add on that subject before we move on?
No, not for me.
Still,
No,
Maybe we
let's
should
move
just
on.
go. Maybe we should just
Oh,
breeze past the World Cup awards. Like,
oh yes, the World Cup
do you
awards.
guys
I
agree
knew there
with
was
it?
something
Because
else.
I have one strong take at least on the awards.
go on.
Okay, so Messi won the best player. I guess, however much we might chap on about that, but he was gonna win it because he
Yeah,
was the most influential player for the team that won the tournament.
yeah,
Yeah,
that's fair
and,
enough.
and I think he would have won it anyway. I said that to you before, yeah, ages ago, before we started this podcast. I said it was always going to be Messi, no matter what happened. In
Yeah,
Qatar,
yeah,
Messi was going to win it.
yeah. For
And
me, it was probably Mbappe, but that's just it's subjective, isn't it? But I thought Mbappe was the best player in the tournament. But
Yeah, but I
yeah,
think it just came down to like when France and Argentina were playing the final. I think it just came down to who was gonna win it. Like
yeah, yeah, yeah,
especially seeing that Messi scored two and Mbappe scored three in the final. If France had won, then there's a chance Mbappe would have won. But since Argentina won, so
yeah,
I guess
yeah.
you
Yeah,
can't.
that's fair
I
enough.
guess I'm just saying you can't complain too much about Messi winning the award.
No,
no, as he
no,
played for the team that won it, and it was always going to, there was always a good chance, unless it wasn't Argentina that won, it would go to the team that won. In which case, if Argentina hadn't won it, it'd have gone to Argentina because it would have gone to Messi anyway. But as they did win, it doesn't matter.
no.
I'm
He,
100% sure it was always going to be Messi. Let's be honest.
he
Yeah,
did
but
have a
that's
good tournament, though. He was very good, I must admit. And I'm not his biggest fan, but he did play very well and was, as Deep said, very influential in them lifting the trophy. I think if he hadn't been in the side, I think they're just a run-of-the-mill side. Uh, although, the other good players in the squad, of
I was
course.
going to say
I
they got
think,
Enzo Fernandez. I think
yeah,
he's a bit better than
Enzo was
run of the
very
mill.
good. Yeah, yeah.
They got Lisandro Martinez, who couldn't even get in the team.
No, no.
which is shocking to me because I think he's an excellent player, even if he does play for Man United.
Bit rash, but there you go.
Yeah, but like you can get away with that in the World Cup.
I suppose so, mate. I suppose so.
Well, I guess he's not that quite matched with Messi, so who knows?
Yeah, that's.
I'm only half joking because
Please
I'm
don't
sure
you two
that
start
plays.
telling jokes. God's sake. I mean, if this podcast could get any worse, that's how it'd get worse.
No, like this podcast will genuinely get worse if I actually start telling jokes.
That's what I
Like,
mean.
before,
That is the
before and
only,
afterwards.
that is the only way you could make this podcast any worse, is if you two told jokes during it.
So, anyways, Mbappe finished the top scorer just to round
Yeah.
things out.
Yeah.
And I guess one of the most iconic images. I don't think you can call it iconic. One of the most horrendous images to emerge out from the World Cup, in my view,
Oh,
from
know.
Emi Martinez, who won the Golden Glove for being the best goalkeeper, or maybe it
No,
was
most clean
keeping
sheets.
the most clean sheets.
Yeah.
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 Dickhead.
And then and the way
He's just a
when he
dickhead.
received the award, is that the one that he did the
Yeah. The dickhead with the dickhead pose.
yeah, fucking idiot he is. It's embarrassing
Yeah.
when you conceded the hat trick. You don't taunt the player who scored the hat trick on you. Mind, I suppose it doesn't really matter to him because he's not going to face him again. Because when's he going to play in Europe for a Villa? He's not. So
No.
unless he does get a move, he's not going to worry about Mbappe putting 17 past him to get his own back, has he?
No.
Yeah, not unless Mbappe. See, this is what Klopp needs to do now. He needs to get onto Mbappe, say, "Hey, do you want to get your own back on that Martinez? I mean, he's a complete knobhead. Why don't you come and sign for us? You can score 20, 30 goals a season against him." He'll really rub his nose in it.
I thought he was a bit of an idiot, to be honest with you, Martin, the keeper, Argentine keeper. I don't think he done himself any favours in the way he acted, you know. But
Do you mean
that
the
might
kicking
just
the
be
ball
me.
away and stuff as well?
Yeah, and the gamesmanship and all that, you know, over the top things he done when players missed the kick and that, you know. I'm not saying be gracious, but you don't have to be nasty about it like I thought he was.
A bad loser's one thing, but you can kind of understand a bad loser because they've lost. So they're understandably, they're angry and upset with themselves. So you can understand that. But a bad winner, that's the worst of all. That is the worst of all. And especially when you didn't really contribute anything to that victory.
No.
Let's be honest, because he didn't keep out shots that he shouldn't have kept out. You know what I mean? He didn't care.
No.
The saves he made weren't anything special. He didn't do anything.
He was saving in the last minute of extra time that would have won it for France, and it was a very good save. But I can't think of any others that I'd say, you know, made an outstanding save. But that, you know, that's what I think anyway.
Well, he did come out as a hero in the penalty shootout, so let's just give him that. But like Chris said, like maybe you don't agree with it, but you can understand where a bad loser is coming from. But such ungraceful, such sore winner, come on.
Yeah.
No wonder certain people, me, doesn't like Argentina.
Yeah, I mean, you know, you just want to see a winner have a bit of graciousness and say to the losers, you know, hard lines or something like that. Instead, you know, they're taunting them. That just makes you. I mean, you just come across as a twat. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
You just want them to lose every time you see them now. If he's playing.
Yeah.
I mean, it's made me think every time he's playing for Villa, I'm going to be supporting the other team unless it's Man United or Everton or Chelsea.
any
or
other team.
Newcastle or Arsenal or Man City. Oh, hang on, I probably won't actually support against him. But if it was anyone else, apart from half the rest of the Premier League. But I mean,
Yeah.
if it was a team, I'd normally be a neutral thing because I've got no ands ifs or, but I don't really dislike Villa or like them either way. You know what I mean? They're just a team that are there, really. You know what I mean? For me, because well, they're not a local rival. We haven't really got a rivalry with them. So, but now I I will take quite a little bit of pleasure in seeing Martinez concede 12 goals a game. Really, to be honest.
No. No, I thought he was horrible. Right, moving on, boys.
Yeah.
No, there's one more.
Oh, one
Moving on
more
to
thing.
something in the back up. Go on.
The only reason I'm doing this is because
Oh, no.
Enzo was the young player of the tournament award.
Oh, yeah. I know you picked it, but you're interested, yeah.
No, no. I'm not doing it to like boost ourselves up. I think I strongly disagree with the pick, actually,
Right.
Yeah, that's the point.
without actually having watched the good tournament day.
Yeah.
You have to remember that I have actually watched nothing significant, but I think the rightful winner would have been Josko Gvardiol, the Croatian centre back.
Right.
Yeah, he should have been the golden boy as well.
He was good, yeah, he was good.
I would have. I've had it. I said that, I said that when the Golden Boy Awards given. When it was like I was doing the news review on the sites, and I was saying when they were every time the list came out of who was in the running, I said it should be Guardiola, but it won't be him because he's a defender, because he'll never win an award like that. And he didn't, and he showed it again in the World Cup. He won't win an award like that because he's a defender. Just happens so rarely.
Yeah. I remember we were all questioning the Golden Boots when Van Dijk was up for the award 2 years ago.
You mean Ballon d'Or?
Yeah, Ballon d'Or, sorry, yeah. And he was probably the best player out there, but he never got the award because he was a defender. So what you're saying, I'm just
I went to Messi even though he was having a
right.
poor season by his standards. But
Yeah. It does it's determine them awards by where you play and who you play for. Yeah.
Who gets the hype is what they're about.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and that's why it tends to go to a lot of Real Madrid or Barcelona players because they, people talk about how the English overhype their players, which they do, but not as badly as Barcelona and Real Madrid do. Every player that plays for them is so ridiculously overhyped in the media, no matter how bad or good they are. You just, it's insane. And speaking of which, actually, I see. We'll move on to the transfer window. I think now we'll go on to that because this could take a while, obviously. So I was just thinking the Madrid signing the 16-year-old Endrick from Palmeiras. He's their record record youngest ever. Goal scorer, and he's only 16 now, and they've signed him, and he won't join until 2024 when he's 18. See, for me, I find that a bit uncomfortable because you're not allowed to sign a player who's 16. That's why he's not joining until he's 18. But should they even be allowed to set up a deal with what is basically a child? It's like
Yeah.
It just feels a bit wrong. It feels a bit uncomfortable. Surely they should have to wait until he's 18 before they can sign anything. It shouldn't be legal for me until he's 18. I mean, you're making a child make a decision.
Yeah, I'm a bit uncomfortable with that myself.
2 years in advance as well. It just feels a bit, a bit dodgy to me.
Yeah. But it has happened in Europe where 8-year-old kids and 10-year-old kids who've got ability you give the parents and all that presents and
it's been happening.
The kids I'll come and train with them or sign for them.
That's been happening since time immemorial, mate. Do you remember Duncan Edwards? Why he signed for Man United, and everyone will say no, he just wanted to sign Man United. It's absolute bullshit. His mother got a brand new washing machine out of the deal. That's why he signed for Man United, because she got, like, at the time, nobody had washing machines in those days. You know, they got a brand new thing, and she got this top of the range, really expensive brand spank. You know, people didn't have them
Yeah,
in those situations in working class families in England then, but she had one, brand spanking new, delivered.
yeah. Oh, it has happened at time immemorial, as you say. But I still find it uncomfortable that basically they are children, and I'm not saying it's slavery, but they are sold off by two big clubs who have got the money to say we'll give you an incentive for your child to sign for us. And as you say, 16. Obviously, I'm a very talented kid at 16, but it's still too young for me to be comfortable. That's all I'd say.
I mean, you can't legally join either. That's the thing. If you can't legally join,
No.
how can you be legal for him to sign a contract?
Consent, yeah. It does seem strange, but they'll do anything now, won't they? These clubs, they've got no scruples. Not many clubs have got scruples, to be honest with you. Where they'd say, we're not going to even go near because someone else will. And as you say, it's got to be outlawed by FIFA or whoever is in charge of them matters. Really, it's down to them.
Yeah, but how many brown envelopes will get passed along? So they take
Yeah,
a blind eye to it and won't care. So
yeah, I can
it'll
see
just
that.
carry on.
Yes.
So yeah. Anyway, should we get to Premier League transfer window? Because that's really what we're mostly about. To
Yeah,
be fair, this is mostly about the Premier League. So let's get to it. We'll start with the A. We'll go through we might as well do it alphabetically. So apologies, Wolves fans. You're going to be waiting a long time. If there is any that listen to this,
yeah,
I'm not sure any do, but you never know. So we'll start with Arsenal. In my
yeah.
opinion, they still need a striker. I know they signed Jesus or whatever you want to call him, and people have been raving about him and going on about him racking up the goals and that, but he's actually scored 5 in 14 games. He's clearly
Yeah.
not the answer. I'm shocked he's managed that many, to be honest, because he's just not a goal scorer by any stretch of the imagination. But same number of goals as Darwin Núñez, who's getting crucified in the media and is being taunted by everyone. And yet Jesus is held up as doing really
Really?
well. Yeah, go on.
Yeah, but I can see what you're saying. Only after this kudos or whatever his name is, Arsenal, it's going to be so.
Are you talking
It's
about
going to
that
be about.
Moose?
Mohamed Kudus
Yeah,
from Ghana.
yeah, but
He's been linked to them, and apparently they're going all out for him. But I believe the fee is absolutely astronomical. But that's also pie in the sky at the moment because I
isn't
wouldn't
he a
know.
midfielder though anyway?
Is he? I thought he was an attacker. He
I
scored
think
so
he's
many
more.
goals.
I think he's more of an attacking midfielder.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, but he's in midfield.
That is the impression I have of him.
I'm sure he's a midfielder though, rather than a
He's a
striker.
goal scorer, wasn't he? Because they were saying how good his stats were for goal scoring, so that's why I just assumed he was an attacker.
Yeah, but as a
Uh,
Man United fan, Deeps will tell us that anybody that plays in the Dutch league, it's just a farmers league for stat padding, isn't it? Now Hakpo's side for Liverpool. I think I sent you both that tweet, didn't I? The set of tweets from
Oh
that Man
yes,
United
yes.
fan.
I remember. I remember. Yeah.
Yeah, he was like talking about how great Hakpo was 1 minute, then Liverpool signed him, and suddenly he plays in the farmers league and he's just stats padding. We didn't want him anyway. He's shit, honestly. Uh, sometimes you just think you better not to say anything than just keep opening your mouth and make yourself look even more stupid than you already have done. But we still carry on doing the podcast anyway, so obviously we can't talk really.
well, still on Arsenal. Who would you have, Trish? If you were Arsenal, who would you be going for?
Well, I put a couple down. I thought that Kolo Muani from and Danjuma maybe, because they need. What you've got to remember is Arteta struggles with man management. That's why it's a team of kids. It's not because he's this guy who wants kids and thinks like. It's because they're the only ones that will respond to him. Anybody older just thinks this guy's a knobhead and wants to leave. You know what I mean? He's not good with his man management. The kids will just listen because they're in awe. And so what he needs is somebody young, I think, which is why I was saying someone like Muani, Danjuma. I was thinking, it's got to be someone 24 or under, really.
Danjuma isn't 24 if you
Isn't
going
he?
by numbers. No.
I thought he was still 24. Shit. Okay. But he's not playing in a big. He's not playing in a big team, so he's not going there as a big.
And also, what makes you think, sorry to cut you, but what makes you think Ronald Kolomoani, who's playing in the Champions League knockout stages, is gonna move to Arsenal? He just joined Eintracht Frankfurt as well, 6 months ago.
Yeah, I know, but I was just seeing names that I'd suggesting as players that they could target, rather than saying that they will get them. You know what I mean? They're ones they could get.
Yeah.
It was just literally, I had a few minutes to, after doing after preparing the notes, and I just quickly went through and jotted down a few names, example names. That's literally all it is. It's not like I was saying these are the ones I think they'll target, or that. It was just those kind of players. Tricky one that can play all over the front line when he's not up front. What I think they'll end up doing is I think they'll put Nketiah up front and struggle, to be honest.
Who would be on your list if you were Arsenal manager?
A new manager?
They're top of the league. You can't say that. They're not going to change the manager.
You can say what you want about his stats hold up this season. He's done really well.
Yeah.
Oh come on, Billy! I've seen Ole Gunnar Solskjaer take Man United to top of the league halfway through or thereabouts.
Yeah. I know that. But to be fair to him, he hasn't done much wrong. And
what?
They're going to stay with him. They'll stick with him. And
they've lost.
Good luck to them.
They've lost almost an entire squad because he can't manage. So he's done a bit wrong because he's managed to alienate an entire squad. I mean, their best player who supports Arsenal as well isn't even sure he wants to stay at the club at the moment, and he's been the key difference. It's not been Arteta, let's be honest. What's changed is Saliba's in the side. Nothing else.
Yeah.
That's what's made the difference to him. And Arteta's already alienated him before he even put him in the team. And he's still not sure, Saliba's still not convinced he wants to stay because of Arteta. So he's done a fair bit wrong. When you alienate your best player, that's a bit of a problem.
I know what you're saying about Saliba, and I thought he was wrong over Saliba. But what you've got to remember is this stage in the season halfway through, Arsenal are top of the league, clear by 5 points, is it? They're clear by 5 points. He has got them playing, and he's got them playing good football. Whether you like his management yeah, they are. They're actually decent to watch. When I've ever watched Arsenal this season, I thought they'd been good to watch.
I watch a different team because I find them a bit like.
And I think
some of the play's good, I'll give you that, but I find them a bit like they're never the better side in any match. They just seem to get the win, and I just feel the luck's going to run out.
Well, it might do, but at the moment, you can't say he's doing much wrong.
See where they are at the end of the season.
I think he's made Partey a better player, whether he's given him more responsibility.
Come on, have you actually seen Partey play before? Because he was world class before he joined Arsenal.
But when he first come to Arsenal, he was bloody awful.
Yeah.
And now he's playing really well.
That isn't Arteta, he's just got him playing somewhere near the player he once was. He was better before, honestly, mate. He's not playing better than he was before.
Right.
And who signed Partey anyways? Wasn't it Arteta?
I don't know who signed Partey.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he signed under Arteta, went shit under Arteta, and now he's finally just starting to play a bit more like the player he once was. But he's still not, that guy was like, everybody was after him at one point.
Well, when he first come, I wasn't that impressed, I'll be honest with you. But I think he's settled down. I think he's got... the team ethic is good with Arsenal. They seem to be doing really well. I think players like Saka have improved.
Saka.
I thought he was terrible, but I think he's not too bad now. And I think Arsenal are doing okay. I think they're good to watch. I think Arteta's done a really decent job for an up and coming manager. He's only been there 2 years, and I think he's done very well. And you know,
Yeah,
well,
but
I can't think why you'd knock him. To be honest with you.
to be fair, you think Lampard was doing a good job last season, so I'm not sure I'm going to use you as the yardstick. To be fair,
Champion for young up and coming managers. I don't like all these, just drag someone in off the street because he's got a reputation in Bosnia and all that. I'd like to see young managers coming through. That's why I was happy about Lampard. Not so happy now, but I do like to see up and coming young managers.
yeah,
give
I
them the
do, but
chance.
he's not. He was never an up and coming young manager. Let's be honest. He was terrible. He was awful at Derby. I don't know how he failed to get that team up. And then he was no better at Chelsea. Started off well, but then he actually got to choose his own team, and he was awful from then on.
Yeah, I say he's inexperienced, he's young, he's trying to cut his teeth. Maybe he should have cut it further down the leagues. I don't know, but we'll have to go on to Lampard when we come to Everton. But at the moment we're talking about Arsenal. And I don't think Arsenal that Mikel Arteta's done a lot wrong. And he's got the lads playing for him. I think they're going to spend a lot of money. I think he's got the backing of the board, he's got the backing of the fans, and I think he's won a lot of people around. Not people in our sphere at the moment, some of us anyway. But I think he's done okay, and he's an up and coming manager. He's inexperienced. He's made mistakes. I think he'd be the first one to admit that. But I think he's, if you take things into context, I think he's done damn well up to now. But that's my opinion. It's all about opinions, of course.
Yeah, it's all opinion at the end of the day, and the only way we'll be able to tell is at the end of the season where they go.
Yeah, actually,
and even then, it's not quite.
Yeah. Time will tell, obviously, with him.
Yeah, even one season's not entirely getting up. Sorry, the entire story, is it?
No. Should we move on to Aston Villa?
Oh, did you two suggest any names?
For Arsenal?
Yeah,
I know they were linked last year with Calvert-Lewin.
Don't get desperate. That's just harsh. You can't hate on them that much. You've just said how well Arteta's doing, and now you're trying to fob him off with your dross that you can't. They can't get fit.
I'm not trying to fob him off at all. I'm just saying they were linked to apparently made an inquiry to Everton.
Well, there you go. There's something they did frigging wrong then, isn't it, under Arteta?
He reads the line very well. Does
Well, I haven't seen him doing that this season, have you?
He hasn't played, that's why.
Exactly! 1 point! How can he lead the line very well? He's always fucking injured.
You can't stop injuries, can you? You can't. But I know what you're saying. But I think he's still a very good player and would do a good job for Arsenal.
It's difficult to do a good job when he's freaking injured.
No, he can't when he's injured. That's exactly right. Deeps, have you got anyone you'd put forward for Arsenal?
Well, I think a much more accomplishable target for them would be Marcus Thuram from Mönchengladbach.
Do you rate him? I've got to ask, because I've never seen him play well. I don't get the... I know his dad was wonderful.
I don't think
is it?
I don't actually think he's an out-and-out striker to begin with. But I think with just about 6 months left on his deal, he's having a hot streak in front of goal, so it would be a much more sensible move for Arsenal. Well, if you ask me, do I rate him? I would just twist the question to, would I take him at Man United? And the answer would be no. So
So that suggests that like
Yeah.
you're trying to fob them off with shite. You're both trying to just fob them off with shite, is what you're
No, no,
saying.
no, no. What's happening is Billy just wants
Gets rid of
Everton
some.
to get some money,
Yeah.
money for a lump of lard, and I just want
Yeah.
Arsenal to have a bigger lump of lard.
Yeah, so that you could drop them down the table and try and get United into the top four. It's just cheating. This is. You're not. This isn't how it's supposed to work. We'll move on to Villa because obviously we all want them to do well for Martinez.
Oh,
As we've
also,
said.
I also think Arsenal actually need a centre midfielder.
But Partey's brilliant according to Bill. So who could they?
I've been brilliant this year.
Yeah, but they only have got Partey and Xhaka. The next one is a huge
Guendouzi?
drop off in quality, and Xhaka isn't like.
Smith Rowe is doing really well for them.
Wait.
He's been injured. Go on.
Did you just say Guendouzi because he plays for Marseille?
No,
Oh, not
Smith Rowe.
Guendouzi. I forgot. Yeah, that's the other one.
Yeah, another brilliant move from Arteta. Brilliant man management.
Yeah, letting Guendouzi go because he couldn't handle him. No, who's the other one that they've got? It's
Albert Sambi, Lokonga, and El Neni.
El Neni. That's who I was thinking of. The hair. I was thinking of him, not Guendouzi. Sorry, that was who I meant. El Neni.
Bad player for me. But there you go.
I don't think he's a bad player. I just don't think he's, suited.
He's not good enough. Like,
Yeah, he's
if
not.
we're being honest, he's not good enough to be playing for a team that's
No.
top of the league and
No.
He's
trying
not,
to
as,
maintain his
he's not as
position.
good as Guendouzi, who they've got rid of instead because Arteta couldn't handle him.
Because
I was
he's
never
got
a big fan of Guendouzi, I'll be honest with you. Never a big fan of his.
Who, Guendouzi?
Guendouzi, he never ever impressed me when he was playing for Arsenal, to be honest with
He's
you.
one of those who's
Never.
a bit hit and miss at
He's
Arsenal.
petulant.
But now
He's very petulant as well.
Yeah, he is
Yeah.
very petulant, but he's stepped up his game since leaving them.
And he's got a head like a lodging house cat. And he just didn't fit in for me.
I think they could go. I think they could go after Fred and.
Yeah,
Oh, for fuck's sake, you two are just trying to fob off your shite. What's next? I mean, Naby Keats is available. I'd gladly drive him to Arsenal.
He's staying in Liverpool. He's staying in Liverpool.
If we're just saying, we're just trying to get rid of our shite on other teams. It's not quite what this was meant to be,
Oh hey, come on! Fred is not shite. He just has a
He's
shite
not that
touch.
good. He's not that
No,
good.
Fred-
Yeah, you're right.
No, Fred isn't sight. He just has a very poor first touch. His
And
passing is
second.
very hit and miss.
Yeah, he can't pass, he can't shoot, he can't tackle, he can't control the ball, he
Control the
can't
ball,
head
but
the ball.
rest
Actually,
is
what
brilliant.
can he do? Yeah, he can run around a lot. Yeah, he's great player. World class, wonderful running around.
No, but he's very good at running around, winning the ball back. He just can't actually make.
He usually
Much
just
use
gives
of
it
it, but-
straight back to the opposition, though, unfortunately, doesn't he? Bless him. It's a
Yeah.
shame because he does work hard and he does seem like a likable type of player.
Yeah. Like I was just gonna say, he's very likable. Like he's
Yeah.
got a very affectionate personality. But
Yeah, he comes
Come
across
on.
really well. He works his ass off for the team and that, but he's just, he's
Nice.
crap. Let's be honest. I never understood when City were trying to buy him. I never understood it because every time I saw him, he had a touch.
no, but
like
come
him.
on,
He
Chris.
looks
There
like
was a
he's got-
face.
But at one point they were trying to sign him, and Man United ended up signing him. And I don't understand how those two clubs got hoodwinked into thinking that this player was suited to the Premier League, where in midfield, where you need a decent touch to at least stand a chance of getting control of the ball because it's so helter-skelter like. What were they
No, but
thinking?
even bigger thing is like, okay, Man United, we have a very horrendous recruitment policy, but Pep Guardiola wanted him.
Yeah, so I mean, what did they see in him that made them think he was good? He's absolutely nothing a Pep would, a
He's
Pep
the
team
antithesis.
needs.
He's the antithesis.
Antithesis.
Yeah, he's the
Borrow Billy's
antithesis.
teeth, will you?
He's the antithesis.
For fuck's sake, we're going to be here an hour. You can say
wait,
backbone, but you
wait. Let
can't
me just
say
turn myself off.
antithesis. Fucking hell.
Yeah, it's the antithesis of
Hey!
the football. So come on.
Yeah, I mean, you just can't. Somebody's going to have to explain what the scouts were looking at when they saw him, and what Pep
No, but
thought
there
he
was a
saw.
phase like there was a phase for Man City early on under Pep where they would just be linked with one awful player to another. And I'm not saying all players were awful. Just one player unsuited to Pep, then another one just as unsuited, and all those
Mm.
things.
It's hard. Well, they've done the same again. They've got. We'll
Oh,
get onto that when we get there. We'll move. We won't go on to that. We'll carry on with it.
Right.
Sorry, we'll move on to Villa because I think we've talked
Yeah.
enough about Arsenal where you've just tried to fob your shite off on them. So we'll move on to Villa. Have you got any more shite you can fob off onto Villa like while you're about it? Maybe they could have
Harry
Pickford
Maguire.
to replace
Harry Maguire.
Martinez. Pickford to
Harry
replace
Maguire.
Martinez because him and Emery don't get on. So. Come on, you get rid of him, eh, Bill? Might even
Well,
get a
Michael
decent fee
Keane-
for him.
Michael Keane will be a decent buy for Villa.
For fuck's
Because,
Oh, now you're just getting stupid. Come on. Me nan's dead and she'd be a better defender for Villa than Michael Keane. Just dig her up and stick the coffin in the middle of the pitch and she'd do a better job than Michael Keane would. Let's be honest.
No, they just need Harry Maguire.
Oh,
Harry Maguire all the way.
Jesus Christ, could you imagine? Let's get Harry Maguire and Michael Keane together. I mean, that'd be the worst defence in history. That could be could be England's defence in the next tournament. Could you imagine?
Harry Maguire, Michael Keane, and Tyrone Mings together.
Oh,
That's the back three you want
yeah,
to see.
wet dreams are made of that for the attackers playing against them. Let's be honest. Every team would be desperate to play Villa, wouldn't they? If they had them.
No, but just imagine a world where Villa actually do have Harry Maguire, Michael Keane, Tyrone Mings as a back three. Emi Martinez is the keeper, and now hear me out. They're playing against Kylian Mbappe.
Oh, wouldn't that be that'd just be insane. They
Can I
wouldn't
just say, I thought Harry Maguire had a very good World Cup for England, by the way.
Well,
I would never
But
he's done very well for England.
yeah, but if they played deep and defended deep, it's easy to look good and as a
Yeah,
defender.
but he never done nothing wrong for me. He done okay.
Didn't he make quite a few mistakes which led to goals? Every goal
He
that was
made
conceded, every goal England conceded, according to what everybody who actually seems to know about football said, was down to Harry Maguire was making bad mistakes.
He made one mistake for a goal where he got beaten in the air, but that was it. Besides that, he done nothing wrong.
Okay, I'm sorry. I know I didn't see the game, but I can't believe that. I've watched Harry Maguire play, and I do not believe he could play 5 minutes without making a bad error. It's just not possible.
Okay, so back to Villa. They obviously need a few players. A few defenders. Cucini hasn't worked out for him. I think he's been a bad buy. Did they buy him or did he still on loan? I'm not sure. Yeah, he's that type of person. And Liverpool done fantastic getting the sort of money they did for him.
Insane that is.
And a bit above average player, I'd say. And I thought they done fantastic, Liverpool, in that deal. And he hasn't worked out, so they obviously need a midfielder. He's on the bench. He's not going anywhere at the moment. But they need a few players, I think, if they're going to progress any up the league, or they're going to get sucked into the relegation mire. I can see it coming off.
Me, I can see someone like Pau Torres or something coming, someone from Spain because of Emery.
Yeah, maybe.
What do you think, Seamus?
Yeah.
I think it's a decent shout.
See, if I was them, for the way they play, I put down Guay from Palace. I think he'd be the perfect player for the way Emery likes to play in that. but I can't see them getting him, to be honest. It's just I know they've got money to spend, and they're after Felix because of it. But I mean, they're going to struggle to attract players
I
like
think I
that.
get Shell Felix. I wouldn't think he'd go there, personally.
No, that's the issue they've got. They've got the money because the owners are willing to back Emery. They brought him in and they're giving him money to spend. They'll back him. They'll look for people, but it's who's going to want to play for Villa. That's not a dig at Villa. It's just they've not long come up from the Championship. They've had a bad season last season and the season before. You know what I mean? Because they're still building from a Championship side. Really, it takes 4, 5, 6 years to to build yourself up and get yourself to be a settled Premier League team. And they haven't had that yet. So and they've not made the European places yet. That makes it difficult to attract the really good players. You're looking at a lower level players like Guay that are playing for Palace, but Palace are doing well. So why would he leave them? That's the issue they've got.
They're going nowhere at the moment. It's up to Emery to sign a few players and try to get them up the league. And I think they are ones who are going to make a bit of a dent in this January window.
What do you think, Seamus?
I think they've got to.
Well, having money is just not enough if you're not as attractive a proposition for players. But maybe having Emery means they can get 1 or 2 players who you thought would be out of the reach.
Yeah, well, that's the reason.
For example, like you mentioned Pau Torres. If Emery wasn't there, I would have said, "Get out of here! It's not happening at all." But with Emery, there is a chance they could pull off deals along those lines.
Yeah, I think that's where they'll be looking, the Spanish market with Emery.
Yeah.
Because he won't have had time to set up a scouting network or anything, so he'll have to go for players he knows.
And that's fair enough, isn't it? That's fair enough. He'll have certain players in mind that he wants to go for. Players he's worked with before, probably. And I think they will make a few signings this year.
Yeah, and they definitely need defenders. Having watched them against us, they need defenders badly.
Yeah,
they're so slow at the back. It's like they're running in treacle compared to Salah.
Yeah, but maybe comparing their performance right after the World Cup isn't the best idea, but I don't know.
Well, they both had the similar, they both had Salah hadn't played.
I was just gonna say maybe their defense didn't have a break like Salah did, but I just realized Genia plays as left back.
Yeah, exactly. They played.
My point ran out of steam before it came out of my mouth.
It's kind of par for the course, really, isn't it? When you start making a point, you suddenly realise, shit, actually, that's wrong. I
realized halfway through what I was gonna say was wrong.
Yeah.
Will they keep Martinez, or do you think someone possibly bigger in Europe would go for Martinez because of his World Cup exploits?
I think it's more that Villa I think Emery will want to sell him. I don't think he's that suited to the way Emery plays anyway. He's not that good with his feet, is he?
No.
And apparently they haven't spoken. When he was at Arsenal, he was the one that got rid of him. Remember, he wouldn't play him at Arsenal, so
yeah.
they're not.
Very much so.
Yeah, so I expect him to go, and I think it makes sense to sell him. He'll be he'll get a decent value for a player that they can replace on the cheap, much cheaper for
but come on,
better keeper than
there aren't many standard goalkeepers around.
Martinez doesn't stand out either, though, does he? That's what I'm saying. He's not, to get the same level. What you're looking for is just a player who can do what Emery wants keeper to do better than Martinez does, because he's not very good at the way Emery wants to play, which is why he wouldn't play him at Arsenal.
Maybe Kelleher from Liverpool?
Yeah, someone like that, exactly. He wouldn't be
Even if it was on
ridiculously
loan, even if it
expensive.
was on loan, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, he wouldn't be
Maybe
ridiculously
they could
expensive.
come in for Pickford and
Yeah, that's
You're not getting Pickford for 150 million, let me tell you.
150 million, my ass.
no 150 million Nepalese rupees. Yeah, you're right.
Ah, yeah. I take it that's like 20 pence.
No, that's
Jesus, Billy's just trying to
somewhere around
farm off
10
his
million
shit again.
or 1 million, I think.
Yes. Pickford's still not a good goalkeeper, Billy. No matter how much you try and pretend he is, he's just
You know what?
spectacular. But
He's
being
top five in the
spectacular,
championship. Yes.
this
For
this
me,
is you who had Andy Robertson as not even in the top 20 left backs in the world. The guy with the most assists in Premier League history. But yeah, he's crap. He's crap because Billy's. It
I've
wasn't.
always liked him. I've always liked him. I
But you
don't think
said
he's
he
the
was
most
shit.
talented. No, he's not the most talented, but he's a grafter, which I'd sooner have as a fullback, a grafter, rather than a ball player.
He's
And I
definitely
don't.
in the. He was definitely in the top 20 when you were saying he wasn't, though. He was in the
Well,
top 3 at that point, and I think he's looking like he's back to his best as well, which is good.
he went through a bad spell, but
Yeah.
we're not on to Liverpool yet, so
Yeah, so
I'll come on to him when we come to Liverpool.
yeah.
But getting back to Villa, yeah, they need defenders, they need a couple more players, probably a midfielder as well. I think they're all right up top with
Do you?
Yeah, I still like Danny Ings. I'll be honest with you. I
Yeah, but
think he does a good job.
he won't play Ings because he doesn't suit the way Emery wants to play. He can't. He's
The
not a
other
link
big girl
player.
does all right for them as well. He works his stock up, the centre forward, so
Ollie
left-handed,
thingy,
isn't
what's
he?
his face?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Ollie Watkins.
but he misses
Ollie
he
Watkins,
misses
yeah.
35 shots a game. You know what I mean? He's just not a good goal scorer, and that's what they need. Need someone to put it in the back of the net. Ings would do that, but he won't pick him.
Okay.
So I can't. So I think they need. I think they need a lot of changes, to be honest, because they're playing it. They've got a team that's not suited to the way Emery wants to play. That's the problem they've got. I don't think
Yeah.
there's many in that squad that suit Emery at all. So I think they're going to need to completely overhaul it. From the back, Martinez doesn't play the right way.
It's gonna take couple of years
Oh
for that to
yeah,
happen.
they're going to spend. They're going to have to spend big. They're going to have to invest heavily to do it. So they're going to be a team to watch in transfer windows, because whether they can or not, whether they can buy the players they want is the issue. That's
Yeah.
really what they. Anyway, shall we move on to Bournemouth now?
Yes.
Yeah, next one. So, I mean, okay,
They need a lot of players, don't they? They need a lot of players for me, Bournemouth. I think they're getting sucked in. I know that they're doing all right at the moment. They're about, 12th, 14th, something there. But do need a lot of players. They're not a very good side at all. They work hard. I'll give them that. They work hard, very much like Brentford were last season. They work hard. They give everything. But the quality they've got just isn't good enough to sustain a Premier League, to be in the Premier League. And I think they're going to have to buy. I don't know the finances of the club, but they do need to buy.
Yeah, they've just been bought out, so who knows what their finances are like under the new owner? Because they've been sold. They were, they obviously had that Maxim Denim,
Right.
who sold them just recently. So yeah, it's hard to tell what they'll have to spend, but you would think he's bought it with the intention of investing, because they need to. I mean, you look at their goal difference, minus 16. That's not good after 16 games.
No, it isn't. No.
Yeah, so yeah, I mean, they need a lot, but I think personally, though, the key is they need, like many others, they need to find someone to score the goals for them.
Yeah. I think you put down that Brighton Davis might be a punch for them, Trish.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Maybe it's someone like him, because I can't think of who else would go there. You know what I mean? It's like, who would go to a team like Bournemouth? They're in a precarious position where they're. I know they're 14th at the moment, but they're only 3 points ahead of Wolves. You know what I mean? They're only 3 points clear the drop zone with like over half the season to go. So
Yeah, easily to get sucked in, and easy to get sucked in there for a lot of teams.
Well, yeah, I mean Leicester Leicester were on the bottom not so long ago, and they're 13th. So there's still like a long way to go. Brentford,
Yeah,
Fulham, nobody's actually safe yet, obviously, because it's too early in the season. But you can see anyone from 9th downwards could end up in the relegation battle.
yeah, I agree with that, Chris.
Yeah, really, that's what you think is the top 8. I should be fighting for the top 8 places between them, and the ones below them. It's just a case of which ones avoid relegation battle now. Really,
Yeah,
for me.
yeah, I think you're right, Chris.
Seamus,
Right.
anything to add? Any ideas for the
I
Bournemouth
I think
goodbye?
I don't know, because
Have you got
if
any?
I was
You
a
got any
player, I
dross you want to
wouldn't.
fob off on them? While you're about, because that seems to be the way it works.
Well, I think Tom Davis and
Oh,
Dwight McNeil.
Anthony Gordon would probably.
No, he's got 120 million. Anthony Gordon, he's
Oh
gone.
yeah.
He's
Oh,
to Chelsea, 120 million.
120 million pesos.
I guess Harry
Spanish
Maguire.
pesos.
I guess Harry Maguire again.
Yeah, I know they need defend. They need someone who can actually defend. Not.
No, but genuinely, like, Harry Maguire is behind Luke Shaw as a centre back.
Yeah, but you look at it as well. I mean,
Oh wow.
Harry Maguire, the type of player he is, he needs
He
to be
was with
playing.
Bournemouth.
But he wouldn't, because Bournemouth play football. And they try and hold a high line, which is why they've got such a poor defensive record. They try and hold a fairly high line. He is not suited to them. In fact, you look at the league, and I think there's not many teams he is suited to. West Ham under Moyes, maybe. Other than that, I don't know of any of the teams. Oh, Forest have been playing quite a deep line defence, but that's because they've already got a load of slow centre-backs, so that might be their problem.
Maybe Leicester. I don't know what they do. I've not watched them. Maybe Everton. I don't know what they do.
Don't you dare. Don't you dare.
Could be a great signing for them, I think. Yeah, you got a good point there.
Yeah, wouldn't you love
For
that,
Liverpool
Chris? Wouldn't
fans,
you love
anyway.
that?
Yeah, for Liverpool fans, that'll be a great signing.
Right, so we've gone through Bournemouth. Let's go to Brentford now. Now, this is a dodgy one for me because of the Ivan Toney situation.
Yeah.
It looks as though he could get a ban, Ivan Toney, because of the betting. If they're going to nip this in the bud, the betting situation, is he going to get a ban? Is he going to get a long ban? Is it going to be a short ban? We don't know yet. But
judging on
without them, they could get sucked in because he's more than their best player in the team for me.
Yeah, when you look at the players, if he's found guilty, it'll be months, not days, not weeks. It'll be months if he's found guilty. I'm judging by. I mean, Daniel Sturridge won one case once, told his brother that he might be moving. Doesn't bet himself, doesn't drink, doesn't gamble. You know what I mean? None of that. But one case, he gave information to his brother about a move that didn't work. He didn't come off. He got banned for months. So you're looking at 260 odd, is it now? Something like that. 260.
Yeah.
You've got to be talking maybe even an entire season, possibly. Because this is a lot.
Something similar happened to Kieran Trippier as well. Was it 12 weeks or 12 matches? But it was also like his move was about to be finalized. He was moving houses. His friends came along, and they figured it out because he was moving houses and things like that.
Yeah.
And yet he got, like, I guess 12 weeks or 12 matches. But
yeah, exactly, which is ridiculous.
It was an innocuous mistake, and still they got penalized. So.
Yeah, that's fair point, Deeps. Yeah, fair point, mate. So they are going to need at least one player, a couple of players really, because without him, he's the focal point of that team, and they are going to struggle without him. I really believe that, because I think he's a fantastic player.
I think
They
Really
need
good
a
player.
contingency plan in place in case he is
Yeah.
yeah, you've got to
penalized.
sign a strike. They've got to sign a strike. They haven't got anyone to play in place of him. That's the problem they've got. And the worrying thing is that they're for us. I mean, trying to pick someone out is the way they work transfer wise. It's difficult to even, their names. They're unlikely to be players we've even heard of, really.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, but sometimes they do. They do pick up players. This is why I was suggesting Balogun from Arsenal, because a lot of the times what they look at is the ones that aren't going to make Premier League sides come through the youth system and then aren't going anywhere. And Balogun's
Yeah.
been sent out on loan. Does it seem like, even though he should be in the side ahead, I'd have him ahead of Jesus myself. I think he's a better player, and I think he needed a shot, but he's been sent out on loan to Reims. I think, maybe a loan to Brentford instead would work out better, for all parties. Then it's cover for Tony without them having to
Yeah.
actually buy. It's a better place for him to develop for Arsenal if if they see a future for him, and if they don't see a future for him, they could do a loan to buy move. So if it
Yeah. Yeah.
works out, I just think someone like that would be the kind of solution. If it was me running Brentford, I'd be looking to something like him. Yeah.
All right. Okay. But I think we're all agreed that they do need players. And as I said, the Tony issue is going to be a massive one for them, and it's for them to sort out and see where they go from there, I think.
Difficult one, though, isn't it? I mean, you got any ideas who they could put in? Billy, Seamus, either of you two?
PCL could
Oh, for
actually.
Oh, for God's sake! Oh,
Well,
did
Neil
they have?
Maupay could be for the club,
Oh, for
and he
fuck's
could do a
sake.
good job for them.
Why did they even?
But it would be a homecoming for Neil Maupay, I think.
Yeah.
He did.
He did spend
to-
time there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Fucking hell.
Yeah,
I
that's.
can't believe he said these.
No, I think
Talk
Billy.
about
I
flogging
think
a
Billy.
dead horse.
No, Billy. I think you're forgetting someone else. It could be Rondon instead. Solomon
Yeah,
Rondon.
that's our club no more, so I don't care where he goes.
Yeah.
not your concern anymore, right?
Yeah.
Billy's still crying about him leaving, I bet.
Yeah, I am. Yeah.
Broken
What
heart.
a waste of time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he didn't
Okay,
work out at all, bless him.
Let's move on to Brighton, who are doing quite well actually under the new manager. I thought they might collapse a bit with Potter going, but they seem to be carrying on and doing okay.
It's a bit early to tell. I mean, it's like Everton when Martinez took over after Moyes. For a
Yeah.
while they're so well drilled, they just carry on as they were, and it takes a while before the new regime
Yeah, that's a fair
instills
point.
it.
That's a
And
fair
so
point.
it's difficult to tell. He could turn out to be the man who takes him up to the next level, or he could turn out to be a disaster. We won't, but it's going to be a while before we actually know that, I think.
Yeah. But they've still got the old worries, haven't they, of a goal scorer.
Oh, desperately
Really?
needs one. And also, obviously, McAllister and Caicedo.
Yeah, but
Everton
that's
wants them.
always the case for Brighton. Whenever you reach a transfer window, it's like you try and find a solution to your goal scoring problem, and you also try and make sure you don't lose one of your crown jewels.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's
well,
fair
the
enough.
thing Brighton have got a problem with is that they're buying players and they're promising them. The reason why they're joining them rather than somewhere else is because they're joining Brighton with the promise that they're being put in a shop window to move up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? To get a better team in time. So they can't really hold on to him for too long.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I know
yeah.
you're saying, Trish.
They can't say to Caicedo, well, we're not selling you no matter what, because that's you've put him in there. You know what I mean? That's why you bought him. He's been bought to sell on.
And McAllister is stuck done up, isn't it, because of the World Cup?
Yeah.
So you know, teams are going to be after him. He had a very good World Cup actually, and you know, teams do buy because of what happens in World Cups. It's a fact of life, and he had a very good World Cup. So I can imagine a few will be after his signature.
Yeah, I mean he's been a decent player he's been improved massively under, it must be said, under Potter. He went from, he was just a fairly decent, hard-working player, but now he's worked hard and he's been playing. He's improved massively and made himself a hot property.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, will he?
I don't know. I think teams will be after him.
Yeah,
We're all still on. Yeah.
yeah. I can't see where. What do you think, Seamus? Do you think either Casido or McAllister will go in this window?
I think it'll be easier for them to hold on to Caicedo for this window and promise him a move in the summer. With McAllister, maybe this might be the best time to cash in.
But
Yeah.
they turned down offers for him in the summer already, Deeps. That's the thing.
Yeah, but I'm saying like even if they like wait for 6 months, a year, 2 years, I think his stock might be at the highest right
Yeah.
now with
I agree with
McAllister.
that, Deeps. Absolutely.
Yeah,
Well,
I
he's
can see
still,
what you're
yeah.
saying, but the problem is you've got a player that, like I said, you've signed him with the knowledge that he's going to be moving on at some point. You know what I mean? You've signed him with the promise that, like, if a bigger club comes in for him, you'll let him go because that's why he's joining you, and the bigger clubs are sniffing round him.
Yeah.
I know it might be unfortunate you've got two of them in the same position, but
Yeah, that is what I was gonna say. Like
very
if they
difficult to
lost,
turn around and
yeah,
say no, isn't it?
yeah, but if they lost out both Caicedo and McAllister, their midfield would be royally fucked.
I know. I mean, that's the thing. They've got, they really don't want to sell Bo. But what option would you have if big offers came in from big clubs for both of them? You've bought them on the promise that because you've messed up your entire transfer policy for the future. If you don't let them go, the
Yeah, but
next
that
player
is what
you go
I'm
to
saying. If
sign in the
like
same position turns around and says, "Well, no, because you won't sell me when when the right offer comes in."
yeah, that is why I'm saying they should maybe give serious consideration to offers made for McAllister, and with Caicedo maybe they can promise him a move in the summer. Because with
Yeah.
Caicedo, there's long-term interest from the likes of Man United, Liverpool,
But they
many other clubs.
but they already knocked back offers in the summer for him last summer. So that's what I'm saying. You're at the point where you've already knocked back offers, and you already said to him, "Can you wait a bit longer?" You can't just keep doing that, can you? You know what I mean, for a lad. And I know you've got McAllister's suddenly hot property, so I'm just saying it's a really difficult position to be in if you're Brighton, because at the end of the day, you don't want to sell either of them. They're
Yeah,
key
yeah. In an
transfers
ideal
for you.
world, you would say give us at least 6 more months, but the world's not ideal,
Yeah.
sadly for them.
And
Yeah.
you've already asked Caicedo to hang on because you've rejected offers in the summer.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so I think,
They're in a very tricky situation.
Yeah, it is a
yeah,
tricky
I don't know what
situation.
they're gonna do, but you could sell one of them and that'll buy you a striker though.
Yeah, but I think maybe they should be the ones taking a punt on President Diaz.
Hmm. Yeah, could be. Yeah,
Possibly, yeah, possibly.
yeah, it certainly could do a lot worse. But and you could say that about a lot of the teams. To be fair, like Palace and that all need a striker. I think Blaise and Diaz might work out for all of them. Really, for teams at
Oh,
that sort of level, like the bottom end, like Everton and that.
Neil Maupay could go back to Brighton.
Oh, for fuck's sake. Yeah, they've only just offloaded him to you. You're not getting rid of him. You're not getting him back there that quickly, mate.
Yeah, but he
There's
wasn't
a
the
reason
manager
why
then,
they
so I
there's a
like him.
reason why they sacked him off to you, Quiff. They ain't gonna be that stupid to sign him back when he was shite for them last time.
I live in hope. I live in hope.
Maybe Arsenal could sign him. And I heard he's great friends with all of their team, isn't he? Because he's always bickering with
Yes.
them on the pitch. Oh my god. For some reason, he really upsets them, and I don't know why.
Not as much as he upsets me. Okay, let's move on to Chelsea.
Oh,
Ooh,
Jesus.
aren't they the best position at the moment, are they?
No, I mean, you can't blame Potter for this. He's been handed a bad. He's been given a bad hand, as did Tuchel, because the transfer policy was a mess. And then obviously
Yeah.
they've had, they had a transfer embargo. Then Frank Lampard was in charge, was picking players, so they had a mess there. And then they haven't been doing well in transfers for a long time. I think since Jose Mourinho, really. I can't remember them.
And
They haven't been doing well, have they?
To be fair, he's a bit better now, but Kai Havertz has had a bad time there. The other lad who they bought, who they sold on, what was his name, the centre forward? Supposed to be the best thing since sliced bread.
No,
Morata?
No, what's his name? Centre forward for Chelsea, and they let him go this year. Oh, bloody hell, I can't
you on
think of his
about
name.
Tammy Abrams?
No, not
Lukaku?
Tammy, no. No. The other lad there, I can't think of his name. Centre forward, small fella, dead quick. Oh, bloody hell, they let him go last year. Oh,
Werner.
can't think of his name.
Timo Werner, he played on the left wing, mate. He's a
What,
left
mate?
winger. He was a left
I
winger,
know.
that was the problem. They tried to play him as a striker.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But they spent big money on him and Kai Havertz, and none of them really worked out for Chelsea, in my opinion. Kai Havertz is doing a bit better now, but they're big money signings, and Lukaku, and they just haven't lived up to the hype that the set that they come with,
Come on, Seamus, you've got to have some input there.
What did he say?
Oh, he's not even listening to you, Bill.
No, you guys were arguing. No, I was just thinking who else is the striker, because Chelsea have a very long list of strikers that they've brought
Aubameyang,
in.
they've got.
Yeah,
They brought in
okay.
Aubameyang for Tuchel, and then sacked Tuchel
Yeah,
about 20 minutes later.
Yeah, that just sums up their recent transfer policy. They brought Aubameyang in for Tuchel, and they sacked Tuchel before Aubameyang made his debut.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it was almost minutes after they brought him in. I mean, it was ridiculous. You just can't. It's shocking because they used to be really well run when Abramovich first stepped in, and it just seemed like he put the wrong people in charge and he stepped back a bit, didn't he? And let club tried to get the club running itself properly, and it just didn't seem to work without someone overseeing it as like him. He needed to be in charge, I think, and he didn't. But yeah, you look at it, they definitely need a right back, because when James is out like he is at the moment, and he's clearly got problems with injuries, because he's almost always picking up niggles that keep him out for a month. Just seems to be a regular thing with him. So you're going to need a right back, because you can't rely on him. And he needs competition anyway.
Do you think they need a keeper?
Yeah, definitely need a keeper.
Yeah, I'd say so.
Midfielder. Because Jorginho's shit, let's be honest. In the Premier League, he's shit. He's just not a Premier League player. He'll do alright in certain matches, but 99% of games, he's just not right for. He just doesn't suit the Premier League. He's not that great anyway. But he's 100% awful for the Premier League.
Oh, come on. Just 18 months ago, he won the Best Player in Europe award.
Well, that was ridiculous. That just shows how badly the awards are, doesn't it? Because he's never been the best player. He's never even been the best player in the Chelsea midfield when he was the only one because all the others were injured. Let's be honest. He's not. He's just not a good player. He's not a top-class player. It's simple as that. And then they need a forward as well because they've got no one to score the goals, really. I mean, Sterling's not worked out.
No.
Yeah, they need they're another team need an overall. But firstly, you've got to buy a right back because you haven't got one. He's injured again, so you've got to buy one. And they'll probably need this, and they'll need to be looking at more centre backs soon as well because Thiago Silva can't go on forever.
Yeah, but they're about to sign Ben Mabadiashile from Monaco.
Oh, are they? They got him.
Yeah, like the deal is basically like very close to being completed. Might even get completed as we speak.
Mm.
Oh, that's
Not
a
a
good
bad
place,
signing.
think.
I think he's a very good prospect.
Mm.
I don't
Prospect
know how
though.
it translates.
Yeah, it's whether he works out in the Premier League will come down to it, but he's working with Potter, so I think he'll be fine.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
the reason I know a little bit about him is because we were linked to him when he was 17, 18. Just basically because we were linked with him with a view to getting him in so that he would qualify as
Yeah,
homegrown and or club trained. But then we actually changed our plans and moved for a certain 80 million pound English centre back who shall be unnamed.
Yes.
Yeah.
You should
was
be
it Phil
hopeless.
Jones?
Yeah, and that 80 million pound English centre back turned out so good that he is now behind uh, left back,
Yeah.
who is not renowned for his defensive abilities, anyways.
That's
So we're saying
incredible.
that Chelsea
Bloody hell.
overall, aren't we?
Oh, bloody hell.
So, I mean, they're being linked with Enzo, who would be a good signing for them. Because it wouldn't
Yeah.
just
But not at 120 million euros, come on. It just doesn't make sense.
not for a team that needs to buy as many players as they do. No.
No, even for Man City, it just doesn't make sense. Come on, he's had 6 decent months in Europe. And before anybody says anything, I've seen Piontek have amazing 6 months.
No, I fully understand what you're saying, and I think it's a bit much, and that's why I wouldn't. I mean, when you see him, he's a fabulous player, but
But it's just 6 months.
yeah, it's not long enough to really be sure. Well, I mean, this is what a scout should be. If they should be backing their eye if they think he's good enough, then. But I wouldn't want to pay 120 million. No,
No,
no, no way.
if it was 50 million, it's a risk worth taking. But
Yeah.
with 120 million, you could like see a
And
world where you could see a world where you could make £100 million loss.
and
Come on,
the thing for
that's
them
too
is
much.
they seem to have Kante staying, so they're not as desperate to bolster the midfield now because they've got him. Even if he is struggling with injuries, he's still when he plays, he's a class apart. So that's like it's making it a bit less desperate if he signs a new deal, which seems to be happening. And to be honest, when they've got Potter, he'll improve the players they've got as well. So
Yeah, since they're already like so much doing so much of the shopping at Brighton, just go after one of Caicedo and McAllister. Come on.
yeah, that'll make the more sense.
Yeah.
I mean, they work well with Potter. They know how he wants to play. I think they'd be either of them or both of them would be perfect. But you'd have to
Yeah.
think if they were signing Caicedo, they wouldn't be giving Kante a new contract. So I believe that he's about to sign a new deal. So I can only think that that's because they're not signing Caicedo. Because if they were, why would they need Kante to stay? Or
But
that's my
but
opinion
doesn't
anyway.
doesn't Declan Rice make the most sense for Chelsea in
Oh,
midfield?
perfect sense.
Yeah. He'd do well at any time.
I'm surprised they didn't buy. I don't know what was their thinking why they didn't sign him sooner. I mean, I know they let him go and maybe they were thinking they don't want to be seen to buy him back a player they've let go and all that. Like, but I don't see it as an issue myself.
Yeah, they did it with Lukaku, didn't they? So,
Yeah.
it's not as if it's pressing the
Didn't work.
precedent hasn't been set.
Yeah, maybe that was what put him off, but that was before Lukaku, so it wasn't. He hasn't gone on
Yeah,
bad
yeah.
terms. He didn't go on bad terms. His best mate is Mason Mount. He's a
Yeah.
He comes from a family of Chelsea fans. He does make sense. He can cover centre back and central midfield. Yeah, I don't
Yeah.
understand it. Yeah, he does make the most sense for them at the
Yeah, but
moment.
they do need a couple of players, don't they, Chelsea?
Yeah,
I think they need a keeper because the wall from Senegal has collapsed, and they've only got Zabalaga. So
Had you built it, Bill? Is that what it is? You put the
Well,
water
wasn't
on,
it?
that's why it fell apart.
Very possibly I could have
Yeah,
been defaulted that to it.
yeah. The bricky was Billy from. It's no wonder his shit. Yeah, it's gonna fall down the first breath of wind.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
Oh.
yeah. Don't put your cup on top of that because it'll just.
That's awful.
Yeah,
Right,
yeah. They need to buy almost every position really. So rebuild.
yeah,
But
they need to know what all.
yeah, and they're still rebuilding their scouting system, their backroom team, everything needs to be rebuilt, or their executive structure, everything. So it's going to be a difficult time, and they might struggle to get the right players for a while.
Yeah. They need top four. They're one of the teams who should really be looking at top four. With the resources they've got and the setup. And they'll be disappointed if they don't get top four. And I think they're going to struggle.
My worry is, in terms of looking at it from a Chelsea perspective, is that they might not give Potter enough time, and I think they need to back him and just continue, even if it's going tits up. You need to just stand behind him and back him, because I think he'll sort it out. And if you give him time, I think he'll transform them.
Yeah.
But I do fear
No.
for him.
Well,
It's a
if
bad
if
run.
things do look bleak for them, they should just remember the night is darkest right before it's dawn.
Which teams?
Why?
Yeah, the night is darkest right before it's dawn.
Yeah, it is, yeah. Yeah, I know what you're saying, mate, yeah.
Oh no, I don't care like whether what I said made sense or not.
It
Like,
does, yeah. It's an
no,
old
I
film
just,
quote.
He's
I
been
just, I
drinking.
just thought, no, I just thought that line is quite good, sir. I just had to
Yeah.
slip it in.
He's a strange boy. Where does you find him, Billy? You
Right,
bloody
let's move on
Irish.
we'll have to move on to Palace.
Yeah.
They are a club going nowhere at the moment. I think the manager's done very well since he come in with what he had. But I think they're another. We keep saying this, and it's the same with every team. They need players, and especially a centre forward. They don't score enough goals. The biggest two goal scorers for them would be Eze and Sahar. Would be the
Sahar miles
two.
out of everyone.
Is he? And
I think
he's a winger, so they need a centre forward. Is Benteke still at the club? I don't know whether he is.
I think he's gone. Long ago.
I think he's gone. Yeah, I think
He went in
should
the
have
summer,
went years ago.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
don't understand why they signed him.
But they need a centre forward as well, don't they? And they
Yeah.
lost the Chelsea lad Gallagher, who was really doing a good job for them, and they haven't really replaced him, I don't think. And so
their midfield's awful.
they do need a couple of players. At the weekend, they were awful. The last set of fixtures, and he made no bones about it. He said they were absolute disgrace. 2 men sent off, got beat 2-0 at home, and and he does need players. But I don't know
Didn't they
what the
get
money
beat 3-0?
situation is.
Fulham.
Oh, was it 3-0? I thought it was 2-0. It was 2-0
No,
when I
3-0. No, 3-0. I've just
Was
looked
it?
now. Yeah.
Yeah, but he was going berserk because they were so bad. The whole team was so bad, and
You'll never guess
Well,
what.
mate.
They actually got money for Benteke.
Did they?
Yeah, DC
Yeah.
United. Over 5
All
million.
right.
Unreal.
Well, good luck to them.
Wow, that's impressive. Fair play. Whoever did that deal just got to take me hat off to them. Because getting
But come
money
on,
for
Chris.
a fucking lamppost.
How much did
Getting
Liverpool
money
pay
for a
them?
lamppost to go and stand in the middle of the pitch is just incredible.
Yeah, but the Americans are known to be very
Yeah, but they haven't
stupid.
got,
So
that's a big deal for a MLS side. That's a lot of money. They don't have a big wedge to spend,
Yeah, big.
transfer money wise. So that's very impressive, I think.
But you could see them getting dragged in as well, couldn't you? Even though they haven't had the worst start, you could see Palace getting dragged into that. You know, them
Yeah, because
bottom nine clubs.
they haven't got much strength in depth at all. So a run
No,
of injuries.
no.
They're overly reliant on Sahar, and he's not that good. And
I
yet,
reckon Oscar. I think he's a good player, but
oh,
I know what you're
God,
saying.
I wouldn't have him anywhere near my team if it was me. He would have been the first out the door when I took over if it had been me.
Well, I
Or
think he's a talented lad. I think he's a talented lad myself.
his head is so far up his own backside.
He
He can lick his own.
Yeah, don't even say it. Yeah, he does love himself, but yeah, he has been a good player for them and scored a lot of goals and
But to
has
me,
kept probably
every
kept
time
them
you
up a
watch,
couple of times.
every time you
Go on,
watch
Tim.
them, they would be a lot better if they didn't have it. It reminds me of when, like, how Brazil looks so much better. The minute Neymar was out injured, they turned into a good team.
Yeah,
And as soon as he came back, they were shit again. It's the same
I know what you're
Palace for
saying.
me.
Yeah.
When you watch Zaha, he's their problem, not their solution. Every time I watch them, everything has to go to him, and otherwise he just sulks. He does nothing for the team off the ball. He stands there and he expects everything done for him, everything handed to him on a plate, and he's not worth it. He's not that good. I don't understand why they persevere with him. I would just get rid. You can do much better. He's 30 years old as well. I mean, it's not like he's got anything
Yeah,
left.
if you
You know,
put him up for them,
it's
I'd
not
say
like
so.
he's a kid who can
No.
improve. He's well past his. He's at his peak, and he's average at best. And you
I think
can't.
he's a good player. I'll be honest with you. I do think he's a talented player.
I don't rate him at all. He wastes far too many chances because he won't pass when he should do. You know, he should have. I think half their problem with not scoring goals is because he plays on the wing and he won't. He will take a shot when he shouldn't do. It's like he misses.
Yeah.
He misses far too many chances for my liking. And you know, when you're a player like him playing out wide, you should be looking to be a provider first and foremost.
Yeah, but you've got to have someone in there to provide.
When I got Edward, he's not done badly.
Edward's not much though, is he? Let's be honest about it. I don't think he's a very good player at all, Edward.
I'm not a big fan, but he's never had it. He's not when he's had created. You know, when Zaha's been out injured and he's played, he's scored goals. When Zaha's played and he's played, he doesn't score goals. But that's the same with every striker they put in the team. Is they don't score goals when Zaha plays because they don't get a chance to.
Right, I can see your point. I can see it.
Yeah, so I'd like to see Edward without Zaha and see if he actually is any good or not, because I don't know. He seems to do all right at Celtic, that's for sure.
Yeah, but that's Celtic. But
Yeah,
that's another story. Okay.
What
Can
do you
we
think,
move on to
Seamus?
Give us your Palace views.
Anything to add on Palace, Seamus?
I think they have to make sure they keep hold of the likes of Gahey, Tyreek Mitchell, and I think they need a right back, don't they?
I can't think who their right back is. They've
Joel Ward and Nathaniel Klein.
Nathaniel Klein, yeah, no, they're both shit and they're both in their 30s.
Yeah.
In Nathaniel Klein, it's difficult for him to find time for football in between all his partying away, and he flies all these Instagram models abroad with all his mates to get for massive piss-ups in holiday homes regularly. I say Instagram models, basically I mean hookers that use Instagram to advertise. They need a left back as well because they haven't got anybody if Tyreek Mitchell's out injured. They haven't got another left back. So they need a defence, basically, is what we're saying, because you can't see them hanging on to Guayi for much longer. And Mitchell's too good to stay there, surely.
I thought Mitchell was gonna be off this summer, actually.
I did. I gotta be honest. I'm shocked they've managed to hold on to him. I can't see how much longer they can do it because he looks too good for them, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Maybe you could get him to play the other side from Wan-Bissaka.
Yeah, possibly. He'd go back there.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, he'd be a good step up, actually. Yeah.
Should we move on to the People's Club now?
Sorry, who? I thought we were doing Everton next.
Well, we are. That's exactly my point.
So, the Welsh People's Club.
Yeah, I'm looking at your notes here, Trish.
Yeah, they need a complete rebuild. They need to sell players to recoup money for FFP and to pay for the stadium because they've now lost funding. Because the man who was passing the brown envelopes around has got sacked. The odd thing is, they replaced Joe Anderson with another Joe Anderson, didn't they? The Liverpool council. Like, how weird is that as the mayor? Yeah, different sex though, because it's a woman. Joe Anderson.
We need money for the stadium. That's we don't actually need money for the stadium.
You do.
That's big.
It's not financed fully.
Well, as far as I know, it's fully financed now at this point, and so I'm disregarding that one. And so I think the stadium's going to be fine. I think it's going to be a brilliant stadium. The only problem is they could be playing in the Championship with the side that they've got at the moment.
When's it finished? When's it due to be finished?
24-25 season.
Actually, you could be in League One by then, mate. Let alone thinking Championship.
Don't even think like that, Trish. Don't even think like that. I'm trying in this podcast to unload some of our players to get funds in and use our money. But yeah,
because they're all shite. Nobody would want it.
They really do need players, and I know he's been spoke of a couple of times, but Brendan Diaz, it could be an option. He was an option for us in the summer, never come off, where he's only got so long left on his contract. He's only got a couple of months, I think, left on his contract. So he could be an option for a decent price. But they do need forwards. I think the defence is okay, not great, okay. The midfield's awful. The forwards are absolutely incredibly bad.
How's Cody fitted in?
Cody's done brilliant, to be fair to him.
Good, he's a nice lad.
He's a very, very good player as well. He's
underrated.
Him and Tarkovsky, they're as solid as most centre backs in the Premier League. The two full-backs still a bit dodgy, but they play as a unit okay. Patterson's a bit in and out, but he's done okay. Mikalenko the same, but that's not the problem. And I think we've got a decent keeper. I know you don't, but I think we have. But the rest of the side, honest to God, they're absolutely awful. And I'm talking as an Evertonian and what Everton supporters are saying to me. They're an absolute disgrace, and the whole club from top to bottom is toxic. And I've said this on the site, it's time to give up on them if they don't do something about it, because they are a big club, whether people like to admit it or not. Everton are a big club, and they should be doing better. It's all coincided with getting money off Mashiri coming in, and he made bad decisions involving Kaiju Action and people like that as his advisors, and it's just gone tits up from the day he come.
You can tell
we all wanted money. Go on, Trish.
I was just going to say, he acted like a man with somebody else's money to spend. And that's what he
Well, I
was,
think it
obviously, because
was.
it's Usmanev's money, so he just threw it about. He didn't care. It's not his money.
Yeah,
Why would he care? Oh, sorry. I mean, obviously, it was
well,
his money, of course. Yes.
I think we all know whose money it was, but
Yeah.
yeah, but it's, we've been crying out for years to have this financial backer who's going to bring the club right up, and it's gone exactly the opposite way. We're better as a team on a shoestring than a team who's got money to spend.
I think the problem was he didn't listen. He took advice from people rather than just saying, right, what's working within the club, taking his time and having a look at what worked and just
Yeah,
working on what, you know what I mean?
he just
He
threw
tried
money
to
at
do,
it.
yeah, he just threw money at it and said, well, I want this done today, rather than saying, okay, we're going to need to look at this and do a proper build from the ground up with a little bit more, just invest a little bit more in each part of the club to build it up. He just said,
Yeah,
well, we'll just go and throw money at players and we'll just
I
buy
know,
it. And it doesn't work
but
like that. You can't do it that way. You have to
we've
improve the
got some players on
infrastructure.
big money, players on big money that they can't get rid of.
Yeah, exactly.
You
And
know,
you've not got the infrastructure to pay them, so you're in trouble.
yeah, we haven't got the income to pay them.
Yeah.
But and that's Everton's biggest problem, because now we've got financial fair play trouble. We can't even buy big players now. We haven't got the money to play because of the financial fair play rules. We can't buy these big players without getting rid of our better players. So that's why
What better
Gordon,
players?
Pickford, I'm talking about players who you can get money for, are going to go, because we need the money
Do you think
to get average players.
Do you think anybody will pay money for Gordon after the season he's been having?
I still think they will,
Really?
Chelsea.
Mind, I was shocked Chelsea even came in for him in the summer, to be honest, because he was.
Yeah, 60 million, and they were disappointed
I know.
that they never took it.
They should be
Not as
thanking their lucky
disappointed as
stars.
Yeah. Not as disappointed as I was, I can assure you.
So I just thought, I was looking at like the free agents. Obviously, there's 3 being released just in the last few days. Just out of interest, because like I'm not, I don't think any of them would. But I just wondered, from your point of view as an Everton fan, was any of like Daley Blind, Radja Nainggolan, the old ninja? I used to love him. A few years ago, he would definitely have improved any team, but not sure now. Or Isco, would any of them, do you think, be a help to Everton in their position?
I don't think Daley Blind was. I've never been a big fan of Daley Blind, to be honest with you.
Yeah, he's a bit slow.
Yeah, and he's the type of player that we've got plenty of slow and doesn't move the ball quick enough. But that's my personal opinion on him. Isco, I like him. I do like him. But yeah, I do like him. I think he's talented. But we need players who are going to give 100% on the pitch. It's what the Everton ethos has always been. Give your all. The dogs of war. Pardon?
Nainggolan does that. That's
Yeah,
one thing you
yeah.
can't complain. He's a workhorse, like, but
Yeah, he is a workhorse,
Also-
but you'd also need a bit of quality, and we're lacking so much quality.
oh, he's quality.
You know-
He was quality, but his problem is he's a bit of a party animal.
Yeah.
He smokes heavily. It's basically he's the football equivalent of you, Bill.
Yeah.
Heavy smoker, drinks all the time, parties like there's no tomorrow, and then wonders why his legs have gone at 34.
Yeah, I like him. That's why I like him. But,
He was a
yeah, I know what
fabulous
you
player.
say.
Fabulous player,
Yeah.
Nainggolan. Oh, I
But
loved
we're
him.
looking a bit lower down the scale, and I mean that.
Well, I'm just
you know-
I was just thinking they're free agents. Maybe they're in. The kind of, if you can offload other players to bring in some cash, you could then sign a free agent on the cheap to take
Yeah,
up their place. Maybe.
We have actually, in recent times, very recent times, started to get rid of people off the wage bill. Your Rondons,
Yeah.
them people who were on nearly £100,000 a week. Some of them, we've got rid of quite a few of them now. and we've done okay, touch wood, in the last few months, getting rid of them. And the Swedish lad who had the problem, I can't even think of his bloody name now, with the young girl, got him off the books now, paying for his house and paying for his wages as well. Sigurdsson. Yeah, we've got rid of him. We've got rid of quite a few players off the books. But then we make stupid mistakes like letting Ellis Sim, who is not the greatest player, I'm not saying he is, but he's on loan at Sunderland doing really well in the Championship, and we're playing Neil Maupay up front. You know,
yeah, but Sim isn't very good, mate.
You can't tell me he wouldn't do better than what Neil Maupay's doing.
Have you watched him play? From what the I would
say
say.
A couple of times, and he's a grafter. You know, he is a grafter, and he does get himself in good positions. He's not the most accomplished finisher. He's definitely not
what Maupay does. I do agree that out of the two, you shouldn't. If you pay him money, you shouldn't pay money for a player who's based. I think they're pretty much same. So like pointless. It was just a stupid buy. Maupay. You could have just put Sims in instead. At least he's playing for the. At least he's playing for the club he's come to. You know, he's got a bit of it there in his heart, so he's going to try a bit harder. So yeah, I understand what you're saying.
Yeah, and he's free. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you've already got him.
Yeah, you've already got him.
Yeah, and, stupid decision. You know, I agree.
A bad decision for me. A lot of bad decisions made at Everton Football Club, and we are really in a relegation mire at the moment. And
you've got
we
to remember
need a couple of players.
Who made that decision?
Well, is it Frank Lampard?
Yes.
Is it people above him? Is it Tellwell? Who's making these decisions? You know, we don't
Lampard.
know.
He wanted the striker. He wanted to buy a striker, and he didn't want Sims.
Yeah.
Thelwell works to the managers and he'll work to the manager will say to him, "I want a striker." He'll try and find him the best one that he can find. When that's Maupay, though, you've got to say that he's not done a very good job. So
no.
But yeah, no. I mean, you don't know what the options were available to him and cost. All that, but you can't say. Yeah, you got to say. Yeah, he's done a bit of a mixed job, Thelwell. He's got rid of a few players you needed to, but he's brought in a lot of shite as well, hasn't he?
Yeah, absolutely. Do you know what, this lad who I thought might be the answer in midfield, Onana, is just a new decor. He does exactly the same as Decor, who's on his way out by the looks of it. Sooner the better. It's supposed to be box-to-box players. They don't run as much as they should do. It's an Everton ethos at the moment. Go to Everton, get your money and do sod all. It looks like that's the ethos of everyone who comes to Everton.
What about Gay that doesn't like gays?
the gay that doesn't like gays.
Yeah.
Tries very hard, but just isn't. He's not the player he was when he was first at us.
And he wasn't very good when he was first at you either. So that's something.
I'll be honest with you, I did like him, and
he's
PSG,
a trier, so fans will.
Yeah, he does, but he hasn't got the legs that he had, and he's always had a slight lack of quality, but
slight.
He hasn't got the legs level. I wouldn't say he was as bad as Fred, but he's but the whole midfield, honest to God, is an absolute joke. They don't create anything for strikers, and you can have as many strikers as you want, they don't get savers, they're no good to you. But Everton need a full rebuild, but they haven't got the money, and it's the catch-22 situation, and we're going to be in a relegation dogfight.
Is there no one in your youth system that you'd say, let's build around him?
You've got the new lad who come on.
Cannon.
Cannon, yeah, looks a good prospect. But these are prospects, they're not ready for the Premier League. I don't know whether El Sim is ready for them. I'm just saying that he could be an option.
In the position you're in financially, though, you just got to take a chance on a few of these kids. Because,
I would have took the kids. Yeah, I would have, but they seem reluctant to put these players in. And they're buying duds, and there's no end to how bad we're getting. And they're awful to watch as well. And and we were the better side against Wolves actually at the weekend, but not good enough. You know, Gray up front, he's a show pony. You know, he'll have a good 10 minutes in a game and he will look fantastic for 10 minutes, and then you won't see him for the other 80 minutes.
Yeah,
and
he's an odd one.
Gordon, exactly the same with Gordon. Dead fast. He's got ability. Can't finish to save his life. But he'll have some great moments.
Can dive.
But that's it. And then, you know, the rest of his game is awful. And every player seems to be like that.
I've got to ask, what do you think of Dwight McNeil? Because I've gone on record here many times saying I didn't rate him before, long before you bought him. I just couldn't understand what people say. I've said it many times on Liverpool site when people have suggested him for Liverpool. I'm like, I can't believe you know, he's just not a good player. So now he's at Everton, he's stepped up, so to speak.
I think he is actually the worst signing that Everton ever made in their history.
Oh Christ, that bad.
I'll go on record as saying that, yeah.
And you signed Salomon Rondon.
Yeah. Do you know what? I wasn't too sad when we signed Salomon Rondon. He is a type of player, but we signed him 2 years too late.
Yeah.
We never got the best out of Salomon Rondon. But he was a decent player. You know, he did make things happen up front, and he was a finisher. But we got him 2 years, at least 2 years too late. But Dwight McNeil hasn't got any part of the game. He hasn't got pace. He hasn't got the ability. He goes backwards all the time. Honestly, God, he's a really, really poor player for me. You know, people might say, what do you know about? I don't know that much about his game. Only what I've seen of him, and I've seen bits of him at Burnley. But he's not a very good player at all. And you don't need players like him in a Premiership side. You cannot have players like him in a Premiership side. Maybe to come on as a sub or something, but to actually start it, absolutely not.
I'm not sure.
Never in a million years.
Even as a sub, I just don't see it because he doesn't have any impact.
No, he doesn't have impact, no.
What do you think, Seamus? You've been quiet on this. This is one you should be getting into on Everton, like, because they normally buy all your cast-offs, so...
Yeah, that is what I was thinking. Like, come on, Anthony Alanga. He's been linked to Everton.
We love him.
No, I'm not saying he's a horrible player. I'm just saying, like, I like Everton because they're always there to help us out.
Yeah. Yeah, Phil Jones is looking for a new club, isn't he? Oh no, probably not actually. He's probably enjoying it far too much, having the money and sitting on there.
Oh, come on, Chris. I read somewhere that he had a botched surgery recently, so I'm not going to slag him off.
Say, not again. Surely not. He can't possibly be injured again, can he?
No, it's not a new injury. It's just the surgery went awry. In
the same injury is probably the first one that he ever had, and he's still getting it. Yeah. I mean,
that's
he makes Darren Atkinson seem like he's tough.
That is why I've never mentioned him up till now. Like, it's just 6 more months of him, so let him have it.
And whether he could get a new contract, yeah, mate. They seem to do that a lot with him for some reason.
Not under Eric. Under Eric.
Yeah, you hope. Because like that would say whether the club's actually turned the corner or not for me, as if Phil Jones finally leaves. They'll put him on the coaching staff as soon as he finishes his career playing. You do know that, don't you?
Hey, who knows? He might be actually turn out to be a decent coach. You never know.
Well, he could have been the best. He could have been the best defender in the world ever, according to Ferguson. So he can't be worse than he has been as a player. To be fair to him, when he's played he's had some great games for United. To be fair to him. It's just that he's had one great game and then 974 injuries.
Yeah, but to be fair to Fergie, like, You can't point to evidences that say he's not actually the greatest player ever. You just haven't seen it.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. He could be wonderful. Uh, get him in an Everton shirt. Him alongside Michael Keane is the dream ticket for you, Bill.
Yeah, absolutely. Can we move on to a proper football team now?
Well, I haven't finished taking the piss out of Everton yet.
Well, I am.
Yeah, what about... So, do you think that the team you've got now is good enough to avoid relegation under
No,
this manager? And
no.
would it be possible for them to, is it the manager needs to change for them to have any chance, or would you be happy to keep him and just look to improve the players?
You know what? I've been an advocate of Frank,
Yeah, exactly. That's why I'm asking.
and the reason why is because, as I said before, I
His
like to
name's not
think
Rafa
that
Benitez.
up and coming young manager wanted them to do well. Really was desperate for him to do well. I think he's a good football man. I think he might in the future be a good manager, but at the moment he's not good enough to get Everton out of the position they're in. I think he might go in the next fortnight, and I think Sean Dyche will be waiting on the end of the phone for the phone call, which might be the best thing ever for a football club, certainly this season. And I think that's the way it might pan out.
Well,
I
Dyche thought
certainly
he was
hope
getting
it
a job
does.
before the World Cup, so I'm
Yeah,
surprised Frankie's still there, to be honest. Whether it's
so am I.
Dyche that gets the job or not.
The ideal position would have been to give Dyche 6 weeks while the World Cup was on to bed in with new players, sort things out with the board, where the club's going, have a few weeks with them on the training ground and try and do something. They never done that. Now, we lost to Wolves the weekend. We've got Man City up next. Then we've got Leicester and Liverpool, I think, which is another 2 hard games, and that's when his future will be decided. And I think the club will part company with him. And I feel sorry for him. I think it was the wrong decision to come to Everton. He needed to be at a different club than Everton. And I feel sorry for the lad. You know, he's tried his best, but he's just not up to the job, I'm afraid. And I don't like to say that because I wanted him, really desperate for him to do well. I think he's a good football man. I think he's a nice person. But he's just not the man for Everton at this stage of his career.
Okay, we'll move on to Fulham then, because I think you need to cheer yourself up and hear about other shite too.
Yeah.
So, Fulham, I mean, how long can they ride this Mitrovic wave?
Doing very well, aren't they?
Yeah, but
I did actually say at the start of the season that Mitrovic would score goals in the Premiership. I think he's a very good player, But he's not the only player who's there who's not doing good. And they really look a decent side. And, they've done nothing wrong up to now. And they give even some of the better teams a good game. So, they've just got to carry it on, haven't they?
yeah, they've got to ride the wave while Mitrovic is scoring, and
Absolutely.
just shore up everywhere. Get better players everywhere else, and just keep going with him because he's not that old. He's still young enough. He's got a few years left in him. So
Yeah.
just hope he stays on this hot streak for a while longer yet.
Yeah, he's done well though, hasn't he? To be fair to him, like, he does score goals, and he scored goals against good teams as well. And I like Fulham. I think they're a decent club. Don't care for the manager much, but I think they've got some good players.
They've always been renowned as a nice club. In fact, that's
Yeah.
part of their problem has been they're always known as the best away. The best away ground to visit from a supporter's point of view, not because of the facilities, but because it's the nicest ground to visit for away fans. Because their fans aren't gonna give you a fight. They're not really, they're not nasty. They're not vociferous in their support. So it's a nice day out for people, and to be honest, that's not really what you want your club to be seen as, and that's been their part of their problem because they're seen as too nice, and
A soft touch, yeah, absolutely.
yeah. So you're not going to be scared or worried about going there. You go there, you're calm, you're happy, you can go and play your game. Like so they need to change that, I think, and I think Mitrovic gives them that little bit of nastiness as well as scoring goals.
Yeah.
Which helps. I think they needed that. Last
but
time
they play nice stuff as well, don't they? I think they play quite nice stuff, you know.
yeah,
I don't think they're hitting outside.
They've always played good
like
football.
that.
But the problem being, in the previous time they came up, they had Mitrovic was scoring goals, but as soon as they came up, they dropped him, and they didn't play him. And this time they've said, no, go on, you're scoring goals, see what you can do, and it's paid off. I'm not sure he's that good. I'm not sure he's he's going to step up a level. I think this is where he's perfect for, a Fulham team, or I don't think you can move him on and he'd be, I don't think he's someone you could look at like if you're Chelsea or someone and he would fit in. I think he's at where he should be. He's a very good Fulham centre forward and he's good enough to get them the goals to keep them in the Premier League. But he's not good enough to go and play for the team in the Champions League, for instance, and make a fist of that. I think he's just where he's good for what he is. You know what I mean?
I think he might be a little bit better than that, Chris, but that's just my opinion on that.
Just not mobile enough for that next level for me.
He knows where the net is, and that's a commodity that everyone wants in the Premiership. You look at all the teams who are struggling. The problem they have is that they can't put the ball in the net.
Oh yeah,
and I think he's the type who could do a job at Chelsea because I think they've got some fantastic midfield players and creators, but they haven't got anyone who can put the ball in it. And I think he's the type who could do well at Chelsea. I'm not saying he definitely would, but I think if you're looking for a centre forward to fit in. He's the type who could do a job for you. It might only be 2 years, 3 years, but I think he could do a job for you. But that's just my opinion on him. I've always rated him. But there you go. What do you think, Deeps? What do you think on form?
Well, I think for where they are in the table, they've managed to get a lot less hype than it would seem. Like in previous seasons, we've seen the likes of Sheffield United, Brentford get a lot of media, a lot of hype around their position, and I just realized they're in the top half.
Yeah.
Relatively, like a fair distance away from relegation zone.
Yeah.
Yeah, then.
So they must be doing something well to fly under the radar, but also be flying so high.
Yeah. They've done very well. Credit to them. They've done very well.
So would it be a good idea to try and change things up, or should they just try and ride the wave?
I'm with Tris. I think they should just ride the wave as they're going until things go tits up, which they will do eventually. But I think I think they're doing well, and I wouldn't change much.
Because they've tried to change things up quite a few times now, and it's not worked. So maybe
just one or two players at most. Each in a transfer window. That's all they should be looking to do. Just slow and steady, but look for quality rather than quantity. Because the last
little Tom Davis or so, Tom Davis or
I said quality. What quality? Sorry, I know that's difficult for an Evertonian to understand that word.
I'm trying to do a selling job here, Trish.
You're not working, mate. You're not going to sell any of them. Tell you, not to the Premier League. They've seen them play.
Oh no, that's the only problem.
Yeah. For me, I think Fulham. The only thing they really need is a top class centre half to really.
Yeah, but they've already got one very amazing player.
Go on, Dave.
Team Ream, like Guardiola has been singing praises of him. I don't rate him that highly, but Guardiola is saying
genuinely.
Like if he was 10 years younger, he'd be playing for him.
Wow, I don't get that one. Not a fan of him at all.
Maybe it's some sort of backhanded compliment from
I
him.
don't know. He does tend to make some strange comments though at times. So it might just be the air in Manchester's affected him, because I don't see that with Ream at all. He's probably been hanging around too many. He's probably been to too many parties with Jack Grealish and
Phil Foden.
Phil Foden. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, Mason Greenwood would have been there, and Benjamin Mendy, because obviously he thinks Mendy's a good guy, remember? That's what he said at his court case. He was a character witness. I mean, for fuck's sake,
What?
your lad sit there.
Are you serious?
Yeah, Benjamin Mendy's up there for multiple rapes, and he was a character witness and said he was a good lad. I mean, for fuck's sake, Pep, come on. I know he's your player and that, but you know, sometimes you just gotta say, I really can't. You've just gotta hold your hands up and say, look, lads, I'm sorry, but what you've done is heinous, and I cannot be a character witness for that. You're a disgrace. It's that simple, isn't it? But no, he was a character witness and said he was a good lad. Or nice lad, it might have been, actually. Something along them sort of lines. You're thinking,
Yeah.
Jesus.
I'm hoping that he doesn't know him very well.
Well, he clearly doesn't know him that fucking well if he thinks he's a nice lad. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
I mean,
Okay,
this
can
is
we
the
move
same
on,
to
please?
me, and he's the one that came out regularly and criticised him for his lifestyle before this all came out. He regularly came out and criticised him for his lifestyle. So then to come out as a character witness just means you're a fucking liar, Pep. Let's be honest. I mean, and so you're doing that under oath as well. So yeah. Anyway, should we move on to Leeds, because we haven't got a lot to say about Fulham. They're doing well, and there's not a lot you want to change when you're on a crest of a wave like that, and you're a club like Fulham. You can't really buy much better, and not mid-season, without messing with things. So sometimes you just have to stick with it.
They're doing well.
Yeah. Leeds.
Okay, Leeds United.
Well, I was going to say, I mean, Rodrigo seems to have come good now, eventually, but there's not much left in him. So, and what's his face that doesn't score enough for my liking, but the Leeds fans love him. Bamford, yeah, he's back fit, so maybe they're probably all right up front for now.
Yeah.
They desperately need a left back, because that Junior Firpo is absolute dogmuck. And they're using centre backs out there, and it shows. They really don't look. I mean, they're not a. I mean, really, let's be honest. What they really need is a manager, because Jesse Marsh is. I mean.
But you know what? One thing I will say about Jesse Marsh, they do play for him, and they work. They're one of the hardest working teams out there, and I don't think they've got the greatest quality. But they do work, and they work for Jesse Marsh.
Oh yeah,
but he's tactically very inept. I will say that.
It's that Ted, what's his face? The TV show. You know what I mean?
Ted Lasso.
Yeah, Ted Lasso. He's him. He really is. He is he is him creating. Except he hasn't come from an American football background, so he's got no excuse to be that clueless. It's absolutely. I mean, they should be fine, but I mean they're not the greatest side, but they're good enough to avoid relegation quite easily with the team.
Yeah, they are.
Not with him in charge. Not with him in charge, and yet they'll graft for it. Like you said, they'll graft for him, but it's mostly for wasted because the tactics are so bad.
Yeah, I'll agree with that. Yeah,
What do you think, Deeps? Any suggestions for left backs for Leeds?
Luke says
sure.
Yeah, Luke says backup centre back. I guess I can't suggest him. Maybe they could go after Daley Blind on a short-term deal. On a serious note.
Yeah. They're doing a job for the team, but just not my team.
I'm not sure he's able to still play left back. I mean, he's had the similar heart problem to the one Ericsson had. That's why he plays with a pacemaker, and he's in his 33 now, and he was never quick anyway. I'm not so sure. For a team like Leeds, they play high energy football. Yeah, I don't think.
Yeah, they do. They do run a lot, but they haven't
Mm,
got the quality. But they're doing okay at the moment. But they're another one who could be dragged into a relegation mire if things don't go the way and they get a couple of injuries. But everyone needs players. We're going to say that about every team. They do need a couple of players, and as you say, fullbacks not great, but there's still a solid side who will take points off teams.
they've just given that Laurenti a new contract, the centre back, and he's been absolutely inept for them. It's quite bizarre, that one.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, they clearly need centre backs because their central defensive setup's hopeless. But giving them a new contract's bizarre.
Yeah, they concede a lot of goals as well, Leeds, and that's something that's got to be addressed. But I don't think it's going to be a one-window solution there either. So, but they're doing okay. As halfway they are where they're expected to be. I'd say Leeds.
Okay. So we'll move on to Leicester, unless you've got anything to add, Seamus, on Leeds.
Nothing much, because
Okay.
they did do a lot of stopping in the summer, so you can't just keep buying too many players that you end up being Nottingham Forest.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll move on to Leicester then. I mean, they've still got Ndidi, which is surprising. I know he's had a couple of injuries, but even so, you would have thought somebody big like Chelsea would have come in for, with big money. I mean, would have come in for him by now and bought him off them. Because I mean, they're struggling, and the centre backs, they just don't have a decent defender among them, apart from Johnny Evans, who's 48 now.
At least.
It's got to be, hasn't he?
Yeah.
Can't have
Yeah.
much left in him.
They've actually picked up when they were at the bottom of the league and looked awful, and they have certainly picked up a little bit, Leicester, and I can't see them being in trouble. I think they've got too many good players.
Yeah,
but,
you'd say that, but you never know, do you?
Yeah, I know what you're saying. But
sometimes a team can just fall apart, and they had a good run before the World Cup. Their first game back after, they were awful.
Yeah.
The weekend.
That's true.
Yeah, you do have to worry about them. They could end up falling in there, even though they shouldn't, because their team's good enough. But their managers, let's be honest, Brendan Rodgers. If anyone could ruin it for them,
it'd be Big Brendan. Yeah, it would be. But they've got money. They'll be okay. I think they might buy a couple of players.
They haven't got money though, have they? Because they're in FFP problems, same as Everton. That's why they didn't buy anyone in the summer.
But I think they've got players who they could offload as well. So I think I don't think they're going to be in as much financial trouble as the likes of Everton.
I've got to ask.
I think that
Sorry.
Go on.
No, I was going to say, just the one issue I think you've got to ask is, did they keep Jamie Vardy a year too long?
Possibly.
Should he have been gone this summer? I think it might have been 1 year too many.
Yeah, he's definitely on the wane, and he's always been a big player for them, and they're missing a big player. They are missing a big, strong centre forward, and that's why I think they might just buy in this window. If they've got the financial, I don't know what the financial situation's like, but I think they might buy one or two players. I think they'll be okay.
Desperately need centre backs. They're really short in centre back area. Everyone they've got is either crap or injured or both. So other than and the only one I can see. I mean, they're playing Daniel Amarty's now a centre back according to them, and he's 5'8", is he 5'9", something like that, and he's a midfielder who they first used as a right back because they didn't have a right back for years. And then when he wasn't good enough to get in the team at right back, so they moved him back into midfield. But then they got injuries, so they decided to play him at central defence, and he's just not. He's not 5. I'm exaggerating, by the way. He's not short. He's probably 6 foot. I don't know actually. But I was just taking the piss. You know what I mean? It's like before anyone starts saying, "Oh, he's 17 foot tall," really. No, I know he's not that. I know he's not a midget. Like I was taking. But he's not a defender, and he's not a defensive player even. He's been hopeless because he's played that position constantly throughout his career. He was bought in. He was one of 2 players they bought, Ndidi and him, as the potential replacements for Kante. And yet he's never been given a chance to make the midfield role his own. I do think they've got to sell Ndidi to pay for... Because I don't see anybody else. I know you're saying they've got players to sell, but who? I don't look at their squad
Madison
and think...
Madison's at Newcastle.
Are they going to get much for Madison?
Well, they were looking at 60 million. They wanted 60 million for him. I think they'll get 40 or 50 for him. I really do. I think so, yeah. I think people will pay for Madison. Isn't
his
contract... It's too much for him, for me, but... I think he's a decent player.
He's only got 18 months left on his contract.
No, right.
So, like, in the summer, it'll be in his line. It'll be the end.
Oh, he's one who would generate money, I believe. I believe he would, anyway.
He's only 26, which is a good age.
Yeah.
You can see someone like Newcastle buying him. I can see, I can fully see what you're saying in terms of, except... Like it says, he's only got 18 months left on his contract. So...
Yeah.
I can see him struggling to raise much money for him. But they'll have to, I can't see him staying there much longer, though.
No.
I mean, he missed out...
He is wanted. I think he is wanted by clubs, There are clubs who will be very interested in James.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Whether he'll be the right buy for another team, I don't know. Because I mean, he's been there. He's been good for them this season. What, 7 goals this season? Is it? Yeah, 7 goals. Just checked. Premier League.
Yeah, he's
4 assists.
Yeah,
not bad. He's good free kick taker.
Yeah, good player. To be honest with you, he is a good player. He's got goals.
When he's on his game, he's an excellent player. But he's got attitude problems. Doesn't train well. Has a habit of missing training sessions and stuff. He's been dropped a number of times because he's not been fit, because he's not turned up for training, for disciplinary reasons. Yeah. I think he's one of that, and I think if you're looking to buy a player, I think he'd be one of those you'd look at and go, probably best to avoid, unless you're in a desperate position, like say Everton had money again to spend now. If they had their money to spend, be the kind of player you could take a chance on to try and rescue you from relegation battle.
Yeah. But I don't get the money to pay him because I think he's going to. I think he's going to go for pretty decent money if he goes.
Yeah. No, what I'm saying, if Everton had, then he'd be the ideal player to try and rescue you from.
Yeah.
He's that kind of player where you bring in and you take a chance on. But I don't see, if you're someone like Chelsea, for instance, or Newcastle, I think you'd be making a big mistake to go for someone like him. Though, having said that, someone like Potter might be the best kind of manager for him, because Potter will work with him. He's a psychologist.
And I think he's a Chelsea type player as well, to be honest with you. Clever in midfield, good feet, and scores your goals. And I think Chelsea would be a good move for him.
And they probably need a player like that as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, personally, I wouldn't want to take a chance on a player like that, though, if I was fighting at the top, because I think he upsets the dressing room.
Maybe.
He's too much of a player. If you're a professional outfit like an Arsenal, Man City, they're the kind of Grealish signings that don't make sense. You know what I mean? They're the ones.
Yeah, I can see your point.
Hopefully Pep will sign him. And he'll carry on. So.
Right.
Anything to add, Seamus?
Nothing. I will always end up saying Brendan Rodgers is not good.
Your favourite manager ever?
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you
Well,
think they
Brendan
should?
Rodgers is the next Man City manager.
If you wish. Do you think they should? Do you think they should offload NDD to raise some funds to buy players?
And I think recently he's been a bit, how do I say, injury prone. So maybe it's not
Yeah,
going to be as big of a loss.
yeah, and he's been playing in defence as well a lot of the time. So yeah, possibly this is the time to move him on. But I was just looking to see who they got, and yeah, I can see why they're holding on to him actually. They haven't got much of a squad there at all anymore. Anyway, should we move
Yeah.
on then to Liverpool
Right.
next? I mean, already made
What's the
the
name of
signing.
the player? What's the name of the
Oh.
new player they just got?
Should we just move past that? We don't need to talk about him, do we? Because deep. Oh, for God's sake!
Cody Gakpo!
Oh, yes, you needed to say it. I know. You've been chomping at the bit every 5 seconds, waiting for a chance to mention him, haven't you? Just so you can
Yeah.
say it. You spent months practicing this. Ready?
Cody Akpo.
Yeah, well, out of nowhere, like, literally, I woke up, I saw the news saying, like, Gakpo has agreed a move to Liverpool. Gakpo is having a medical, yada yada. I thought if he was gonna join anyone in the Premier League, it was gonna be Man United. But no, Gakpo has joined Liverpool instead.
How many more times can you shoehorn the word Akbar win? And you're saying it wrong now anyway. I told you, now he's playing for Liverpool. He's a Scouser. And the first letter, the way you pronounce it, is H. And we don't have H's in Scouts. So he's Akbo. He's no longer what you say. He's Akbo now.
Yeah, Cody Gakpo. But I genuinely love saying his name. Like, come on.
No, I don't. You shoehorned it. I think you put it in more times
No, even
than I
like even
mentioned
for the
Saliba.
World Cups, like,
Yeah, just
Oh.
the 3D pods since we first mentioned him. I think you mentioned him. You brought his name out more times than I've mentioned Saliba, and that's a lot.
Do you think he'll do well for us? You fancy Akpo?
Well, he's a Klopp type player. Works hard, listens to instruction, plays for the team, blindingly fast. Great technique, great crosser of the ball. Great shot. I ain't seen
Well,
a
I
great
see.
shot on him, but like I've only ever seen him play up front, and he was abysmal. So I'm not sure. I'm looking forward to seeing him because if he plays on the, I'm assuming he's going to be playing
How
left
many
wing
left
for now.
wingers do you need? How many left wingers do you need?
Well, we've only got
You've
Luis
more than
Diaz.
more than Everton.
You've got Diaz. You've got the clown. He can play. He plays left wing now. You've got
Who?
Nunes, the clown. You've got him. You've got the other Jota, another
Nunes,
left winger.
who scored more goals than I think anybody at Everton's managed. But okay, yeah, no, go on.
You've got him. You've got Jota, another left winger.
He's not a left
You've got-
winger. He's a
He
striker.
plays on the left all the time out there, and I've seen him plays left
Yeah,
wing.
he played left wing because we didn't have a left winger. That's why we needed to bring one in because Diaz has had a few injuries. And
Oh no, come on,
he's out
piss
till
off.
March.
No.
Jota's out.
Gakpo. Oh, come on.
It's a step up in class from Jota.
No, you can say like you needed to upgrade, like the existing player isn't good enough, yada yada. But come on, Liverpool,
Need a
an
midfielder.
attacker
Come
wasn't
on.
an attacking player wasn't the most
Yeah, we
pressing
needed
needs
a
for Liverpool
midfielder.
right now.
But that doesn't mean
Yeah,
Even with the injuries, attacker wasn't
But who says we
wasn't
won't
gonna be
sign a
top of-
Caicedo or similar then? Because we've been interested.
Only
We were
time
to-
will tell.
We
Only
tried
time
to
will
sign
tell. Come on.
Caicedo. We tried to sign Caicedo, Chouameni. We tried to sign Lima. We tried to sign who else was it in the summer? I've forgotten now. We tried to sign quite a few central midfielders. I expect us to go back in for Caicedo. To be honest, I think
Well,
he's or
I hear Tom Davies is available.
Yeah, well, yeah. That good move.
Yeah, I think the problem there though, Bill, is moving from Everton to Liverpool. I think it might be a bit
Yeah,
much for him,
yeah.
so we'll have
It's
to
not
look
easy.
elsewhere.
It's not
Yeah,
easy.
it's
It's not
just wouldn't
easy.
be easy for him, and he's shit as well. Apart from that though, good suggestion. Fucking hell.
Nah,
Case, we may as well stick with Naby Keita as Tom Davis. They're both there. They both have about as much effect on the game.
I just think
Negative.
that Liverpool's priority. I know
Yeah,
he
midfielder. We
always
needed to.
come in at the right time, at the right price. They've got him for a good price. What
Yeah.
did he pay? 39 million, something like that.
I think it was
37
37.
million. Yeah, 37. It's a good price for a forward who's got. He has obviously got ability.
Did you see
He's
his,
only.
Did you see his
Go
stats
on.
in the World Cup? 3 shots, 3 goals. I mean,
Yeah.
that's some stars. That is.
But I think so against Qatar, so I'm not. I'm not. I'm
Yeah,
not.
I'm not.
But
But I'm just
he's
saying
player.
it's a bit of an anomaly getting that.
Yeah, yeah. I'm not
Yeah,
saying
but
he's a bad
it
player.
also shows like 3 stars, 3 goals shows a few things though. It shows he didn't get on the end of much chances. It shows the team didn't create many chances,
Yeah.
and it shows maybe there is a chance he got 3 very high quality chances.
Well, he didn't play up
Missing
front.
context.
He played
You're
off the
missing
striker on
context
the
from
left.
the-
So.
Yeah, but you're missing context from the stats. 3 stars, 3
Oh
goals
yeah,
is like
that's what I'm saying. I wasn't saying I'm just saying they're anomaly. 3 shots, 3 goals. That just doesn't happen, does it? It's incredible.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
just, it's clearly not telling the full picture.
well, Billy.
It's
Well,
just one
Billy,
of those
3
things.
stars, 3 stars and no goals. Who does it remind you of from Liverpool?
Oh God, you're going to say Nunes, who scored as many goals as Gabriel Jesus. But we won't mention that. I just remember all these memes and all these jokes and all this slagging off was exactly the same when Salah joined Liverpool. Exactly the same. Everyone was on his case saying he missed too many chances and he was constantly missing them. But he did all right in the end, so I'm not gonna write off Nunes. He gets in place to score. He gets in
Listen,
place to
listen, I
score.
don't-
That'll do
okay.
for me for now. Let's just see how
Yeah,
we
that is all by the way, but I think like unlike Billy, I'm not gonna pass any judgment on him. I've not seen him enough times, but from whatever little I've seen, he is very fun to watch.
Oh, he's blind.
He's very clumsy. No, he can be very clumsy
yeah.
and he can be very effective in a blink of an eye.
Do you know
He
what?
is quick.
Oh, the thing is with him, I think he might be another one of those that's too fast for his own brain.
Yeah.
If you see what I mean, his legs going. He's moving so fast. He hasn't got time to get his.
Yeah.
So, and it makes it difficult to control when you're moving at high speed. That was the thing. I remember Ryan Giggs when he was a kid, and they were saying the problem they had with him was he couldn't cross a ball. It wasn't because he had poor technique. It was because he was moving. His feet were moving so fast. He was running so fast.
Yeah.
It was just he couldn't. He didn't have time to get. He was like having to snatch at things because he was like moving so fast. Suddenly he'd realise, shit, I'm running out of space, and he's just snatching at things rather than. So what they had to work with him to do was to slow down a bit. Just stop sprinting at the moment just before you go to before you go to cross the ball. And I think that's what he needs to do is he needs to slow down the moment before he goes to make a pass or to make a shot. He needs to slow down a bit. Still a good assist at the weekend.
Very quick.
Fastest player in the Premier League according to the stats. Again,
Yeah,
out of context. Again,
I
out
don't
of
think so.
context.
Like-
Well, it is because one player. He's how often.
No, I'm
players
saying like
actually
he
reach
might
their
have
top
clocked up
speed.
the top speed
Yeah.
or whatever. If you ask me, I don't think he's actually the fastest player in
No,
the league, but
he's-
doesn't mean
that's what I'm
he's
saying.
slow. He's
He's-
very fast.
He's clocked it. I'm saying the stats aren't telling the full story again. I'm agreeing with you. I'm saying he might not be, he might be the fastest player on paper, but that doesn't make him the fastest player. Often it'll be a defender that gets it at the end of the end of the season. When they get they come up with the full stats of who's the fastest player, and you'll think him. He isn't even particularly quick, but somehow they've come up with a fast because it's not necessary. It's no players actually at any point going to reach their top speed. It's not long enough for starters for them to get going properly. You know what I mean? They're not just sprinting flat out at any point, are they? So
No.
it's rare that it's not a true judge of how
But he
fast
does
they
look
actually are.
quick.
He
does
is quick.
look quick.
He is blindingly fast. As is what's his name? Go on, Seamus.
Cody
I was going to say it, but I thought no, I'll let you do it. Yeah. Yeah, those two. I mean, those two and Salah. Jesus Christ, you wouldn't want to play a high line against them. If anything goes over the top, you're dead. You just may as well just stand and watch because you're not going to catch them. As Salah showed at the weekend. I mean, did you see that one, Based?
Yeah. I watched the game. Yeah.
Oh, I mean, the others looked like they were just walking compared to him, and he's not even as fast as he once was either. Oh.
And I see Neil Maupay break clear of the Wolves' defence.
Did they catch him up before he got over the halfway line?
Walking in treacle, and the defender got back and he gave him a 15-yard start over 20 yards and caught him up. Incredible. What a walk with the keeper, and he got caught by the defender. Absolutely incredible. But let's go back. Sorry, I've come off topic there.
No, that's...
Yeah, but he's, I'll say this about Nunes, he won't frighten teams. He just hasn't got a brain, that's all. He's like a tin man. But he is, he could be an asset.
He's learning. He doesn't even speak the language yet, so, give him time to settle in and see how he gets on.
Yeah, and
next season, I think you're looking at him. So what do you think of the centre mid? Do you think? Because I think somebody else will be signed. I don't think Liverpool have finished their business yet. I'm pretty certain. I don't think it'll be a Bellingham. I'd love it to be Bellingham. Love it. I mean, I think I'd wet myself with excitement if they signed Bellingham right now.
What a player he could be the best midfielder there's ever been.
I would love it. Oh. Please, come on, do your Kevin Keegan.
I would. I'd do Kevin Keegan, alright. I'd snog his face off if we signed Bellingham. Let's be honest.
I would love it.
I would love it. Yeah. Anyway, yeah. So, yeah, but I think it's more like the money's probably not there for Bellingham.
A couple, Chris, don't you? I think Oxford's got to go. I think maybe Keita. Although it's getting a buyer for Keita is going to be the problem.
Yeah, well, their contracts are all up in the summer, Ox and Keita, so they'll be gone. The thing is, the reason why you're looking at, you're saying, oh, how many strikers do you need? But, we were playing Oxlade-Chamberlain as the left winger at the weekend. We needed a left winger. You cannot rely on Oxlade-Chamberlain. And Jones, who could cover there, who's the other one who could cover there rather than Jota. He's much better left winger than he is a midfielder, really, Jones. He's not as the quickest, but he's very much an attacking player. But he's another one, he seems to be picking up far too many injuries.
I don't think he's got the quality for me. Yeah. I don't think he's got the quality. I don't think so. I don't think he's got the quality. I think he's lacking in too many departments. I don't think he's great in the air. I don't think he's that quick. I don't think he's that quick.
That's his weakness, his mobility. He's not that mobile.
Yeah.
Other than that, he's got fantastic feet. He can beat a player on the dribble. He can shoot. He can cross. Good free kick taker. He's he's a lot better than people give him credit for. He's been playing in midfield when he's really an attacker. He's played his entire career in attack, and then he's been asked to play in midfield when he's played for Liverpool, and he's never had a long run of games because he keeps picking up. And they're always freak injuries as well. The poor bastard, he doesn't have normal injuries. He gets poked in the eye by a teammate in training and things like that. I mean, it's just no luck. So yeah, but we definitely. I mean, yeah, you're right. We did need. We do need. We did need a. Go on, say his name. We did need. Go on, Seamus.
Begins with A.
So we did need
Sorry?
to sign for the left wing. We did need to sign.
Cody Gakpo.
Yeah, but we also. But more importantly, we do need a central midfielder. Desperately needs one. Yeah.
Yeah,
I think we
I'd
all
say
know
so.
that, but I still think, like I
That's
said,
the
I think
thing.
I think one will
They
come in.
have tried, they have tried to get like too
Yeah.
many, and they have tried to get one, but getting the quality, isn't it, at the right price, I suppose. So.
I think it'll be. I think Casido will. Oh shit! Pele's just died. Shit.
Oh, has he?
Apparently so. Yeah.
Ah, bloody hell.
Yeah.
Oh, what a shame.
82
What a
years
player
old.
he was.
Shit. He was
What a
very
player.
He was involved in a lot of controversy with backhanders and stuff. Corruption and stuff when he retired. But as a footballer, wow.
Yeah,
I mean,
best
you
I've
watch
ever seen.
that 1970 World Cup. I mean,
Yeah,
I
You are a scouser, Chris.
loved.
Even like, even when he's passed away, the first thing you have to mention
No.
is the
I was just saying people are
Vinicius.
going to say. I'm just trying to give the fair, an overall picture. I don't want to just say he was great. It's like Maradona. You can't just say he was a great player. You have to point out that he wasn't perfect. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You've got to. It's not meant to be an insult to him. I'm just trying to point out they're not. They're human beings and they have their bad side as well as their good side. He was a wonderful footballer. He was a great diplomat for football. He was the one that first broke it in America. He's done so many good things, but you also have to point out he was also involved in a lot of bad things, which is, I mean, it's part of life in Brazil as well anyway, so not really.
yeah,
Maybe that's more of the problem than him. But, I mean, it's such a shame to lose him.
yeah, very
Yeah.
much so.
It's just that I remember that film in the 1970 World Cup.
Yeah, 70s World Cup was great, 1970. What a side they had. Oh, absolutely incredible.
That film is just that was when I was little and I watched that and it was like the bright yellow colour. It just seemed to be a whole because it was the first one that was filmed in colour. And I just remember they showed the. They used to show it I think it was Christmas time. They used to show it every year, and when you're off school and you sat watching TV during the day, in our childhood, you only had 2, 3, 4 channels, whatever, depending on what age you were. In Billy's case, he didn't have TV. That was invented much later. But obviously, we only had 3, 4 channels when I got. So you didn't have much choice of what to watch. But that was on one. I'm watching that. I mean. They're another level to what we are now. The football was just incredible.
Yeah.
It was a beautiful game.
I'm very sorry, but I have got to leave. Someone's just come in and I've got to leave. So thanks very much for today. I'm sorry I've got to go. But
no worries, Bill.
Something's cropped up.
Thanks for your input.
Okay, thanks very much, boys. Deeps, I'll see you next week. Sorry I've got to go, but something's cropped up. I will see you next week, and thanks very much for today. Thanks, Tris.
Take care, Billy.
Thanks.
See you soon.
Thanks, mate.
Yeah, take care. See you soon, Billy.
Yeah, you'll have to talk more now, Seamus. You
No,
can't
but
just
I just
sit there
realised-
quietly and do nothing. But we're on to Man City now, so.
No, but I just realized we're already about 3 hours in and
Oh
not
shit!
gone
Yeah,
past halfway.
yeah, we're only on Man City. Well,
We need to wrap this up quickly.
Yeah. So we'll move on to Man City. I mean, do they need much? We were discussing this before, weren't we? I mean, we couldn't really think. I think they need a left back because Cancelo's wasted at left back. He needs to play right back. I mean, and Kyle Walker can't have much left in him. Maybe centre back.
Yeah, but the thing is, do they need But do they need someone?
Stones, not Jones.
Yeah. Do they need some players to come in to get them through this second half of the season? And I would say not really. If they can get one of their longer term targets, then yeah, maybe go go ahead with it. But unless a player or two decides to move
Yeah. No,
and
no, I
they
agree with
and thus
yeah.
they need to replace them, I don't think there is any pressing need in the team. Like for example, let's say if Rice is available on the market tomorrow, they would be stupid not to try
Yeah.
and at least make a move for him. But
No.
having said that, they don't need another midfielder to get by in the second half of the season.
Yeah. The one thing we were discussing this beforehand, so we may as well talk about it on the pod as well. Haaland, has he made them a better team?
Well, the stats, the table suggests not really.
Hmm. Yeah.
He hasn't made them any better. And like from whatever little I've watched, if anything, they've become less of a team and more of a one-man agenda now.
Yeah. I see. I think he's made the same mistake as when he bought Zlatan. Well, maybe not as bad a mistake as when he bought Zlatan because he didn't give away Samuel Eto'o this time as well to pay for him,
Yeah,
which was like that's when you just lunacy. Yeah, I just think it's a similar problem. He's gone too much to the centre forward after spending all these years without one. Like now he's got too much to a centre forward, and I don't think it's working for them. And I think that might be the thing they need to address is more than buying players. I think they need to get the team playing for the rest of the team rather than just Haaland. For me.
yeah, but they also have Julian Alvarez
Hmm.
as a backup, and he seems to be a very
Yeah,
good
he looks
option
good.
as well for them.
Yeah.
He'd probably be starting for most of other teams in the
Yeah.
league.
Yeah, you do wonder why players like that would choose to join Man City when they could go somewhere else and make a name for themselves and then get a bigger money move somewhere else. Or to Man City in a few years' time when he's an established international top class player. You know what I mean? It's strange for me. It doesn't make sense.
Well,
Yeah.
he could have come to Man United had our board actually listened to Ralph Rangnick.
Yeah. Oh God. Back to Ralph Rangnick. Oh God. It's the one thing you say more than
No, no, no.
it's one thing you say more than Liverpool's new
Cody
signing's name.
Gakpo.
Yeah. I didn't even want to say it. I'll let you say it now. Yeah. So,
So we can just move to
yeah, we
Man
may as well
United
move
now.
on
Anyways,
to the Ralph
yeah.
Rangnick show. Or what could have been if Ralph Rangnick had been listened to. Yeah.
Okay, okay. Then I'll just say about a year ago, Ralph Rangnick said Man United need a centre forward. He threw a few names at at the board. They said no value in the market. We don't have the money and whatever else. Like I don't know what was. Like I wasn't present in the room when the conversation happened. But basically, like there is no decent player available on the market was the vibes around it. And 1 year later, we're in a position where we've lost even that one single centre forward we had at the club in Cristiano Ronaldo, and now again we need someone to lead the line. Not just quantity, we even need like not just quality, we even need a quantity now.
Hmm.
Now we're in a position where like an injury prone Anthony Martial is the only striker we have at the club.
But yeah, and you got players like Rashford who can cover but aren't really
Yeah,
strikers.
but he can cover is a different thing to being
Hmm.
he's a striker.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. And you missed out on Hackbo. See, I said it
Yeah,
for you.
but
Couldn't resist.
yeah,
Sorry.
but he's not out and out striker either.
No, he isn't. But he can play there. He knows to play as a second striker. So you give you a bit more options. He would have just given you
Yeah,
options basically, which obviously we know Ten Hag wanted him.
He probably would have provided us with another body. Not probably, he definitely would have provided us with another body,
Do you
and
think?
maybe Tenak would be happy with having players move around and then
Mm,
interchange positions and all.
do you think that was funding? Partly due to, due to the takeover coming on, so they're not wanting to spend money, or do you think they decided to hang on because Garnacho was coming through and save the money for somewhere else?
I'm not sure because I'm not sure like he was top of the list. Maybe he was just one of those players we looked at and then we went after and like Anthony from Ajax instead. That is what
Yeah,
happened in the summer. It
yeah, because that's
was
why you couldn't, because you spent
yeah.
too much on Anthony.
Yeah, maybe like spending too much on Anthony means like we maybe need to move on a player or two before we can sign someone else
Mm.
now.
Well, you definitely
Because
need.
at the end of the day we have to remember there is financial fair play
Mm.
and we are a club that is under huge amount of debts. Granted it's not debts that the club accrued but one we were saddled with by the owners, but still there are certain restrictions provided by that.
So, do you think you'll sign a striker?
I think we should. I'm not sure whether we will get who Ten Hag wants.
Who would you go for? See, for me, I think Jonathan David. He wants to play in. He said he's just come out and said he wants to play in the Premier League. Looks a good
In an
player.
ideal world, like in an ideal world where
Flyovic.
money and Vlahovic,
Yeah,
money and
anyone that can move.
availability is there. Like it's Vlahovic. Like I would be happy with Jonathan David as well.
Yeah. Is it David or David? I always thought he was
Who knows?
French
He's
Canadian.
Canadian, so
Yeah,
I'm
I thought he
saying
was French
David.
Canadian. I don't know. I'll have to look it up. I'll have to find out because obviously
But I thought
now you've raised the bar on pronunciations.
Hakpo.
Yeah, with that one, yeah. We obviously we can't let ourselves down by talking about David when it's David. Well, not that anybody cares who's listening, but like we've got a reputation now, mate. You've raised the bar. You need to find out these things. You're now our pronunciation expert.
Yeah, I've always been the go-to guy for pronunciations.
Yeah,
Whatever I say is the truth.
even if it's wrong, we just stick with it because we haven't got a fucking clue.
No, even if it is wrong and I say it, then it turns out to be the truth anyways.
Wow.
The truth is wrong, but I'm never wrong.
Yeah. Well, when you're working for us, you see, we just make it to. They listen to us and they think, well, I might as well change my name. That sounds better when they say it like that. That's what it is. Can you see any other options out there though, other than David, whatever?
Maybe like the rumor mill would have you believe Joao Felix on a
Yeah, on
loan
loan.
deal.
Yeah,
Yeah, that maybe
wages
that
are
would be worth a shot,
huge.
but I like honestly I wouldn't go for it. Like I've said before, he's not an out and out striker either.
Mm,
If we need some players who can play as striker, then we've already got two or three guys like that. Like even Martial isn't an out and out striker.
mm. Yeah,
I actually like the shout for Randall Colomwani you had for Arsenal. I thought he was quite impressive at Nantes last season, and
who?
he seems to have Randall Colomwani.
Oh, Kolomuani. Sorry. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
he seems to have
Looks
done
good. Yeah,
pretty well for Frankfurt as
but
well. But
every time I've seen he played wide, I thought.
yeah, again another of those players like who started playing out wide, but because
Mm.
they have a certain body type, certain build, they get moved into the center.
Yeah, Turam suddenly and is having a hot streak since going into the centre, isn't he? Um,
Yeah, but I wouldn't have him at Man United.
no, I don't think he's good enough either. I'm not that impressed with him, but you never know. He might have just stepped up his level as he's reaching. Because he's what 25 now, Marcus Turam. So
Yeah, but he has injury issues and also
mm, I've got to.
clearly get banned like in the COVID times for spitting in someone's mouth.
Yeah, something like that. I
Like
mean,
face, not mouth,
yeah,
face.
he's not a player I would be recommending if I was a scout. No, I agree with you. He's not. But I'm maybe that's the kind of level you might have to go down to then when you're desperate for bodies. That's the thing.
Oh, and Gonzalo Ramos is also
Oh,
another one.
Ramos, yeah. Now
Constantly
him,
linked to
I'd be
us.
interested to see make a move.
Yeah, but certain somebody moved from Benfica to Premier League and is getting laughed at, so you have to be wary.
Well, it's more the point is, would that A, would that put him off, and B, Benfica don't need to sell because they've just sold one. So
And see, he just broke into the team properly.
yeah,
Like,
yeah, he's only a kid. Hang on, I need to change the battery in my headphones. So you're going to have to talk about Man United for a bit. Can you do that?
no, I can't.
Yeah, you have to
I've
try,
talked
mate.
enough.
2 seconds, I'll be
I,
right
like,
back.
I still think like we need defenders. Either we have to settle on and Aaron Wan-Bissaka and Diogo Dalot as our two right backs, or get a new right back in and move one of them. Obviously, Wan-Bissaka would be the candidate,
Well, you managed
and
it then.
Harry Maguire. Harry Maguire is always the elephant in the room when it comes to defense as
That's a
well.
bit harsh. I mean, he's carrying a bit of excess weight, but an elephant's a
Yeah,
bit much, mate. You know. Okay, he's a bit of a round man, but like, yeah, there's no need to be insulting.
yeah, that's it. Like Luke Shaw. Well, he only
He's
has
just
1 year
signed.
left on
Actually,
his contract.
he just signed they just extended it, didn't they?
Yeah, by 1 year, but
Yeah, because it's the clause.
yeah,
They had a
yeah,
clause
Claude.
for a few of them. They did about 4 of them, didn't they?
Yeah, Dalot, Rashford, Shaw, and De Gea.
Yeah, yeah, that was it. Which seemed a bit of an odd move for me because I thought they'd have let him go.
Who, De Gea or Shaw?
De Gea, oh, sure, I just assumed they'd get rid of because he's not. I don't understand the keeper of him, but yeah,
Yeah, but with De Gea, the issue is like
it,
if you move him on, then you don't have anyone else. Like maybe you bring someone younger, give them a year, have De Gea around, and then let him move on or free. Or maybe De Gea is happy being second fiddle. Like
do you know? I was looking at the the Forest because I was thinking how's what's his face Henderson getting on
Dean
there?
Henderson.
Yeah, I was thinking how's he getting on? Could he be the answer? Could they give
No, he
him a bit
won't
of
be the answer
luck?
because because I think he's managed to burn bridges at Man United.
Yeah, I
Like you
know.
might
I
like
was just wondering if he's, what he's like. Is he the type of player that Ten Hag would work with? From what they're saying, he's awful with his feet. He's been terrible.
and not just
So
like with his feet, he might be better than they're giving credit for, but like his credit, him and Jesse Lingard are credited to be two of the biggest culprits for the dressing room leaks.
yeah, they were. It was definitely it.
That has gone down drastically at Man United since they've left.
Henderson
Maybe it's
was
a byproduct of
definitely one of them.
what's his face, like Ten Hag actually joining in and ruling with an iron fist on that, but still like
No, Henderson was a problem with that. It's
yeah.
100% he was a massive leak. He caused a lot of problems with things he said to the media because he was regularly leaking stuff. So it's understandable that they wouldn't want him back. I was just wondering how he was getting on, see if he could have been the answer, if he hadn't been a dick, really, rather than. But he doesn't seem like he is anyway. They're saying that because their big issue is they're missing the keeper they had last season, Samba, who sometimes they describe he could be a bit of a clown at times, like, but they were saying he was really good with the ball at his feet, and Henderson just isn't the same level. So. So he's clearly not the answer either. So you do need a keeper as well, long term, because you can't rely on De Gea. Good as he is as a shot stopper, he's not. He's not the player he once was, and he can't kick the ball, and he doesn't command his box.
No, he can kick the ball. He can kick the ball long. He can't pass the ball around.
Mm. No, that's what you know what I meant. Like, yeah, he's not.
Yeah, but
He
with
can't
like
play
with
passing football.
yeah. But with Martinez and Varane, his like distribution has improved. I
Yeah,
wonder if having Harry Maguire
that can't have been good for
like
anybody.
it can't have been as productive, I think.
His
Like,
nerves must have been shot having Maguire.
but also
He,
like Harry isn't the most intelligent of players
no,
to be like blunt, and he
yeah,
doesn't
his
provide with
movement's not good.
yeah, he
He,
doesn't provide you with a better
yeah,
option when you're passing. And he
and you
doesn't
never know.
pass the ball properly, like in a safe situation back. Like he puts others into trouble. So
Yeah, yeah, you never know where he's going to play the ball back to you, and put you into a position where a player's going to 2 foot you in a second, like and that, or whether he's just going to come flying in and tackle you himself because he gets mixed up and thinks you're an opponent because you're not wearing the same colour shirt and stuff like that. So yeah, it can't be good for you to play behind him. I've got to be honest. You got to make a good point there. It's got to be the scariest thought ever. But yeah, we'll move on to Newcastle anyway, because not a lot to say. We don't know how much money they'll have to spend, but they're certainly not going to have big money, are they, Man United? Because they're going to have to sell something first, aren't they? To really
yeah, we
raise their
like
funds because of the takeover.
yeah we in a we're in a bit of a pickle with the takeover. Like it seems like it's moving along quite soon. Like there are reports saying like by the first quarter next year, like within 3 4 months, the takeover might get completed. I don't know who the prospective buyers are, but it seems like the Glazers want the takeover to be completed before the transfer window, summer transfer window,
Hmm.
not this one.
But yeah, some
Maybe
business
plans are yeah,
yeah, the business sites are reporting that it's close, isn't it? So
yeah,
not the football sites, the business sites, which would be a more reliable source of information on this. They're saying it's the company dealing with the takeover. I think it's close. Yeah, be interested to see what happens. It'd be good to get rid of the Glazers from football as well. To be
yeah. But
honest.
but there's like with my lack of knowledge and understanding of the situation, I think they're phenomenal businessmen. Bought the club with very little
Well, they didn't
money.
buy it with anything,
Like
did they? The club paid
yeah,
for
like
its. They took money out the club to pay it off, to pay for it. Like it's bizarre.
yeah,
How
you
does
bought the
that?
club for very little money. You used the club's income to pay for the club.
Hmm.
You didn't invest anything in the club, in the infrastructures and stuff like that. You let the club rot to the core,
Well,
and yet you're gonna see exponential growth in your so-called investment.
yeah, and you continue and all the while you were taking out dividends every year as well.
Dividends.
I mean, how the freaking hell does that? Why did I not think of that?
Like sometimes you will see memes on social media saying like if you want to get rich, like take a 1 billion loan from the bank and then just buy the bank out.
Yeah, yeah,
Glazers actually did that with Man
yeah.
United.
That is pretty much what they did. Yeah, I just
Yeah, they took the money out from the club. They bought the club with that money, and
it's
now they're gonna sell the club for much more money.
yeah, it's just insane that that can even work. I mean, it shouldn't be possible,
That
but
shouldn't be allowed. Like, come
no,
on.
it shouldn't be. It doesn't make any sense that it is, but apparently it is. Oh well. I'm just, I'll just be glad when they're gone. And I'm not a Man United fan. I just think people like that need to be out of football because they're nothing. They're just leeches. People like them and Mike Ashley and that just get them the hell out of the game.
Yeah, like I see people complaining about them taking dividends and all that, and how much money is taken out of the club. I don't think spending money is the issue for us. Like them being there hasn't meant we've spent less than we should be, because we've comfortably been one of the heaviest
Hmm.
spenders. But they have put uh, like unqualified, unskilled people in power, places of power. taking stupid decisions. So ultimately, they've cost the club
Very
in more ways
Everton-like.
than one.
They've done very similar to what Everton have done, but in a much slower, more controlled fashion, because they've not just smashed 600 million against the wall like in one go. They've done it over a period of years, and listened to the wrong advisors, put the wrong people in charge, and that just the same as Everton had done. Yeah, and they've managed to do, but I mean their fall from grace. It's just as spectacular from the club that was miles ahead of everyone else in England to a club that's now. I mean, it's nowhere, is it? Really? I know you're battling for top four now when you should be still miles ahead. There's no reason for you to not be. Did you see the 2022 average home gate? Man United was the highest in 2022. Obviously,
Like our stadium has the
Barcelona.
biggest capacity,
Yeah, but
like
it's not
in the
quite.
Premier League,
Yeah,
and Premier League charges the highest, like
price.
like
Yeah, but
most the highest prices per seat. So
yeah, I was
it's
going to
not a
say
surprise.
the issue with that. No, the highest average attendance over the course of 2022, not the highest amount of money from it. Highest average
Ah,
attendance
not the gate.
because Real Madrid, Barcelona, Bayern Munich, etc. They've all they couldn't fill their ground for like 5 games. I think each of them had where they were still under COVID restrictions, whereas England had released theirs before the season started, so they had full grounds. So obviously the English teams are a lot higher up than they would normally be on average because they had no restrictions and they're filling their grounds. And obviously the ground capacity isn't as high as a lot of the foreign clubs. So
Yeah, but with Man United, like we do constantly get around the top three in that regard with the
oh
highest
yeah, you're normally
attendances.
fourth, I think. I think you're
I
normally
think I
behind
think the
Bayern,
first, yeah.
Barcelona, and Real Madrid
No, no, no,
usually.
not Bayern, not Bayern. Bayern don't have as big a stadium. I think it's Dortmund. Dortmund have it,
Sorry,
80,000.
yeah, Dortmund, 80,000. Sorry, Dortmund. Why do I keep
I
saying
think it
Bayern?
goes like Dortmund, Barcelona, and Man United and
Yeah,
Real Madrid
Bayern are
like
normally
move
the
it on.
one just behind Man United. They're normally
Yeah,
fifth. Man United are normally
because
fourth. It's
Allianz
normally
is a slight
Barcelona, Real
yeah,
Madrid,
Man
Borussia
United,
Dortmund are the top three.
Dortmund,
No,
Barcelona, and then we
you're
change
usually
places with
fourth
Real
because
Madrid.
that's what I was reading. You're normally fourth, and you've jumped up because of the COVID restrictions. Yeah, and yeah, Bayern Munich are the ones that are normally fifth, but they've you know yeah, sorry. Dortmund it is. I've been saying Bayern. I don't know why I was saying Bayern. Christ, that won't go down well in Dortmund. Good job I don't know anyone from Dortmund, isn't it? God, they give me some grief for that. Oh, I was going to say something then, but I've just. Oh, yeah, I was thinking this. Talking about the capacity, Man City, they always do well, but you look at the footage of their games, and even though they're always listed as a sellout, you look at the footage of their ground, half empty, right? Every week, every game they play, half empty. Even though it's always listed. Do you think they're doing a reverse Celtic? Because I've well, so I've been told is that it's one of the. I'm saying this is what I've been told is it's one of the routes they use to secure extra, to get around FFP is they sell the tickets to themselves, so to speak. The Man City buy them buy through. Obviously, they don't buy them directly. They own this, but they buy up all the as many of the empty tickets as they can, so the ground sells out. You know what I mean? It's one of their ways so they can get around. So they can get more spending power through FFP by having a full stadium each week, even though they're not actually selling the tickets to fans as such. And that's why it's always half empty, but always, they always come top of one of the top teams in terms of average attendance, even though there's nobody in the seats.
Maybe, who knows?
Yeah.
These businessmen with their ideas.
But I mean, years ago, it's just odd because years ago, Celtic, to avoid paying tax on the takings, they'd have like 90,000 people in Celtic Park, but they'd only report It's 50,000, say. You know, so they didn't have to pay tax on it. I was thinking, and now we get the opposite thing where, because of FFP rulings coming in, they're saying they're selling 40,000 tickets when there's 20,000 people in. It's quite odd how times have changed. Or at
And
least that's what I've been
that's
told is happening. I mean, that might not be true. Obviously, I have to point
listen.
out that's an allegation that's being made by someone.
But listen, that's 27 minutes for two Manchester teams. That's too long.
Yes,
We
sorry,
need
we'll
to
move on
move.
to Newcastle.
We need to move
Newcastle
a bit
United.
quickly.
What do they
Yeah,
need?
Newcastle.
Creativity,
I,
I
I
think.
think I think they should not make any knee-jerk signings, regardless of where they're in the league, because they got there by being sensible.
Yeah,
Despite having a lot of money, I'm pleasantly surprised with their transfers. I think they need a left back, if I'm being like
yeah. Target's
picky,
only a
but
short-term fill-in, and Trippier's coming
and
to the
Dan
end of
Burn
his
is a
career.
yeah, and Dan Burn is a centre back,
Yeah,
6'7" centre back playing left back. But I think like maybe it's not a bad idea for them to just try and ride this wave of positivity ahead a bit more as well.
yeah. There's not really a lot they probably need a top-class striker, or unless Isaac can sort himself out, he's not really worked out so far, has he?
But he's picked up injuries, so you can't like
Yeah. I wouldn't
concrete.
say I'm with you. I think the only thing they really need is a bit of creativity, so they don't need to bring in Shelby because he's not good enough. And for a team that wants to be aiming up the table, they need to move on the likes of Shelby and get better players who can pass the ball. I know they've been linked with Madison, and I think that's the kind of thing they need. Whether he's the answer or not, though, I don't know.
And I think they also need one more attacker, like someone who can play on the wings, either left or right. I would have said right wing, but Almiron is one of the most informed players in the league. So
Yeah. I thought you'd say they really missed out on a certain new signing.
Cody Gakpo.
Yeah. Yeah, he would have been ideal for what they need, I would have said. Yeah. Someone like that. How's Sesko getting on this season? Maybe he'd be an option for them.
Yeah, but he's moving to Leipzig, so
Oh
you
yeah,
have to
so
deal with
yeah,
Leipzig as well.
yeah. I forgot that he's already signing for Leipzig. I forgot about that. Forget that one then. Okay, so we'll move on to Forest then. I mean, they've already signed Scarpa. They'd signed 23 in the summer, even though some sites are saying it's 22. It's not. It's 23. They forgot. They forgot the lad who didn't actually join them because he went on loan to a side in Costa
Yeah,
Rica.
I know
That
what
one.
you mean.
They never
From
included.
Olympiacos.
Yeah, and they signed Bowler that just went on loan to Olympiacos and a few others that just went. I mean, it's bizarre what they're doing. They've already signed one. They just need to add quality rather than quantity for me.
I think for now they should stop adding anything,
And get rid
even
of a few.
quality. Like it's too much. Like even with the players they have, you can't say for sure whether they're quality or just quantity.
They do
There's
need to
just
get rid of a few.
too many new players, too many new players in a new environment, in a new league. Everything
Mm.
just all chaos and craziness. If you ask me, like it's too much.
Yeah, it's the way he works though. He did that at Olympiacos as well. They signed like 14. It's
Like
madness.
like from the players they've signed, I could say like I could make a decent 11 and say like these were the players I thought would probably have moved to a better placed team and would have been a better signing for those teams as well.
Mm. Yeah,
Like for example, they signed Mangala
hmm.
in midfield. They signed Remo Freuler. Those players, I probably would have expected them to move to a club in a better position to begin with.
Because say you said you could pick 11, you might want to tell Steve Cooper what that 11 is, because he seems to struggle to pick 11 every week. Doesn't seem to know his best side, and I think that's the biggest problem they've got. They brought it, like you're saying, all these players come in, and the manager doesn't seem to know how to cope with them all.
Yeah, sometimes players need to have understandings, relationships
Mm.
to properly perform as well.
I think all players need that to really get the best out of them. They need to. I think that was one of the key things that made United such a force under Ferguson. was that the core of the side played together for years and knew each other's game inside out. You know?
Yeah, you trust when to go, when to sit
Yeah.
back. Like,
And you knew that your teammates would know when you're going to go and when you're going to sit back, so you knew each other's game. It's a huge advantage. That's why you do. That's why you do the drills in training so much. Though you can overdo it, as we've seen with Man City players when they went to the World Cup, and not one of them looked like they could play football because they didn't have a clue. They're robots that play for Pep, and as soon as they're asked to do something different, they're completely out of their depth. Even even a player as good as Kevin De Bruyne just couldn't adapt.
yeah, like a friend of mine was saying, like Pep just told all his Man City players to play poorly and make sure they get knocked out early enough so they can get enough rest for the second half of the season.
Yeah, no, that wasn't what it
And
was.
I just realized my voice changed a little while I was talking.
No, it's just you could see it. They didn't understand how they were playing. You know how the rest of the team were playing. They're so used to the City way. They've drilled and drilled and drilled it constantly to such a degree that ask them to do something else, they haven't got a clue. Which is one of the problems when he gets clever and tries to do something different. Because they're drilled so extremely well in this one style and one way of playing that as soon as they're asked to do something different, it just doesn't work. And you know, it's fine when it works, but if you're going to ask them to do something different, it becomes a problem over drilling them. But you know, they are robots, and it works for them. Anyway, so Forest just need quality and really need to get rid of some
They
players
actually
before they
just need to
sign.
stop, yeah, they
Yeah.
need to stop just buying players again and again.
Southampton.
Well, it's quite obvious they don't score enough goals.
I think
I
so.
would have said they need a new manager, but
Yeah,
they
that's
just got Nathan Jones in.
yeah.
Finally,
They need a decent manager though, because he's shit. I know. I don't understand the decision to bring him in. You get rid of a shit manager and you bring in an even shitter one who's failed at a lower level. I mean, it's
yeah, like
just
it's not like it's not like he even has previous Premier League
yeah. He's had no Premier
experience.
League experience and he failed at a level below. It's like yeah, I don't get it.
Yeah.
He succeeded at Luton Town. Basically, is his success. I think it's Luton Town. Obviously, they're thinking a small club fighting against the odds. That's where his success lies, and that's what Southampton are in the Premier League. But well, that's not what you need in the Premier League because you know you're working with the wrong attitude to start with. I just don't see it working. I think it's a big mistake. He doesn't play good football. He doesn't know how to play good football. They're in trouble. They've brought in players who can play football, and they brought in a manager who doesn't play football. So it's yeah. Even if they brought in a striker, I think they're still in trouble, big trouble. I'd be worried if I was a Southampton fan at the moment. The only thing they got on their favour is that the rest of the league there's quite a few awful sides in the league this season that so they might not be the worst of them.
Yeah, like Leicester have shown, like you can have 5 good
Yeah,
games and climb quite high up the table.
yeah. You only need a few good results to get out of trouble. And I think that's their one saving grace is they might just do that because they've got the quality of players, just haven't got the manager. Should we move on to Spurs then?
They need, I don't know what they need, man. They need Conte
Defence.
to stop complaining so much.
Yeah, but they need a defence because like Eric Dyer, if he's your first choice centre back, you're in trouble.
Ben Davis,
Yeah, exactly. And Hugo Lloris in goal. I mean, sorry, Hugo Lloris. How d yeah,
French captain.
yeah, but he's not a good keeper. Let's be honest. He hasn't been a good keeper for a long time. He's looked finished since they won the World Cup last time round. To be fair,
Yeah, I was gonna say like the mistake in the World Cup final seems to No, I've never left him actually. Although he did actually win the final 2018.
Yeah, but like he hasn't looked the same player has he since. I don't think anybody thinks he's the same player since that. And they're inside of. I mean, the right backs they haven't got a decent one between them. Left backs haven't got a decent one there. Centre backs haven't got a decent one. To be fair, their
Christian
midfield
Romero.
probably needs. Oh yes, sorry, yeah, Christian Romero. So they've got one man to build around then, a defence. At least they've got one, though, I suppose. But
Well,
bring
that's
in,
the starting point.
yeah, they've got someone to base it on. But yeah, they desperately need to build a defence around and a keeper. The attack should be fine unless they lose Harry Kane. But other than that, I mean, they got some good.
Yeah, but they will be in quite a bit of trouble if they lost Harry Kane.
I can see it happening.
They're buying. You reckon buying? Or do you think Man
Yeah,
United will
definitely.
come for him?
I think it's got to be Bayern or Man United. But like Man United, I can't see spending the money right now, and that's
Yeah, but in the summer, like you can see a world when, let's say, like
yeah,
someone like a Todd Bowley comes in and
mm,
they try to make a statement signing.
yeah,
And let's say Spurs are out of the Champions League and Man United somehow ended up qualifying for the Champions League. Like there is a world where that move might happen, but I guess Bayern would be of more sense to both player and the club.
Would you want Harry Kane at Man United?
No, no. That is why I never mentioned him. Like
Yeah,
I
it
wouldn't
just
sign him for him.
doesn't make sense
But
to me. In too many
not
injuries.
now. Yeah, 3 seasons ago, yes, definitely. I would have said break the bank for him if you want to, but now no.
I wouldn't have even 2 seasons ago. I don't. Not because he's not a good player. It's the what do you call it? The
The ankle injuries.
ankles, and so he's constant. He always misses time with his ankles. He's he's not a team player, is he? Let's be
What do you
honest.
mean?
He's when he's on form, he's a fantastic creator and great team player. But he has too many times where he just gets greedy and forgets that there's a team around him and just plays for himself and hits everything from anywhere at the goal, and that can be detrimental. You know what I mean?
Well,
He
with
just
with Eric Ten Hag, like with Eric Ten Hag, I think he might not be the most suitable striker
mm,
either.
he's not the most mobile of strikers anymore.
Yeah, and Ten Hag, I think would prefer a mobile striker, so
Hmm.
it would just probably like increase the risk of injuries even more.
Yeah, that's the other thing, isn't it? When you're asked to do a lot more running, you're more likely to see. When you've got a weakness, especially your ankles, there's not a lot you can do to protect them. If you need to turn or do anything, you're putting pressure on them. I can't. I would avoid him myself, especially at the cost he's gonna be. So yeah, which I think that's probably the only player they've got that they can really sell.
There is Sonaldo as well, but he just doesn't seem to get linked to big moves.
Yeah, I just don't see him raising the funds. That's the reason why I won't mention him. He's over 30. He's just doesn't seem to get the value that he deserves for me. So anyway, yeah. So we don't. They just need the defense. I think their priority need to rebuild the defense, especially if they're playing under Conte, because his way of playing requires a good defense to build from. Yeah, move
Yeah,
on to
next up is
West
Hammers.
Ham. Yeah, they've already signed Luis Zal from. Is it Palmeiras? No, can't remember. Brazilian anyway. Centre back, obviously.
Isn't it Cruzeiro?
Cruzeiro, yes, that's it. He's a defender, obviously, because Moyes only buys defenders.
Yeah,
Like,
but the issue is very clear with Hammers. It's not the style of play. It's not the recruitment. It just simply comes down to the fact that whoever West Ham signed, Moyes doesn't play them.
hmm, unless they're a defender, in which case you play them at the back. Yeah, he won't play them. He won't play anybody who has anything other than has any. He will play any position other than defence. And also, every time, no matter how well he plays or no matter what he does, Ben Ramos always seems to be getting it in the neck and blamed for everything for West Ham. I don't know what Moyes has got against him. He signed him, for fuck's sake. Why is he? I don't know why he's always on his case. Probably because he's an
Well,
attack-minded player.
probably.
Yeah. I mean, this is the man when he was at Everton. I think it was Spurs they were losing to, and he took off a striker and brought on a midfielder. I mean, what? And he didn't, not attacking midfield. You know, it wasn't an attacking substitution where we, allowed them to get the rest of the team to get more forward. It was to park the bus, and they were already losing at home. Yeah, he's the big problem there now. I think he's done. I think his time's up there, and they need to look to replace him. He had a good start, but he's reverted to type. I think he went in and he went out there to prove a point, that he can play attacking football, and he did, and he played. They went out there and they pressed teams and they attacked, but now they're just not doing that. It's not the West Ham way. They're a footballing team, and they desperately need a striker because he won't buy them and play. He won't play them even when he gets them. So yeah. I saw Antonio complaining because they bought a striker, and he was the one that was saying he needed someone to give him competition up front not so long ago. Now he's complaining because they've got someone. Can't win.
Yes, Kamaka.
Yeah, but he never gets played anyway, so I'm not sure why he's moaning about him. There you go. Anyway, so on to Wolves quickly.
New manager, new promises.
Mateus Cunha. But he looks to be an attacking midfielder rather than an out-and-out striker, really, doesn't he? Maybe a second striker.
Yeah, like from whatever little I've seen of him at Hertha Berlin and Atletico, like, he's not an out-and-out striker.
No.
He's someone like maybe if you're playing a 4-3-3, you can have him as a left-sided attacker, or if you like, if you want someone to link up the play as a striker, then like basically I don't expect him to be a 20 goal a season striker.
No, he doesn't have a good record of goal scoring at all, which is odd because what they desperately need, like so many others, is goal scorers.
Yeah, but Wolves were a bit unlucky as well. They signed Sasa Kalajdzic in the summer and he got injured and ruled out for the season instantly.
Is that unlucky? To be fair, he had a history of injuries.
No, but his injuries were shoulder related. He got a knee injury, so
Yeah, I suppose, yeah. Okay.
those things, like, you have to consider yourself unlucky. If he had another shoulder related injury, then you should be asking questions to your medical department. But sometimes players get injured long term. It's just unfortunate, but that's part of the game.
Yeah, I'm not sure he was the answer anyway. He didn't have a particularly good record in goal scoring, did he? If I remember correctly.
I think he got 15 goals in one of the seasons, and next season he got injury issues.
6'7", isn't he?
Yeah, I think he was the tallest player in the Bundesliga before moving to Wolves.
But is he really a replacement for? I mean, do you think they can get Morelos back to his best? The Mexican lad. I think, or it's
Jimenez.
done.
You mean Jimenez?
What did I say? Morelos for?
Morelos.
I think that's because I was doing editing the Rangers.
No, both are Raul. Because both are Raul. Raul Morelos, ex-Liverpool.
Oh, Realm, yeah. Did I say Realm? I was actually because I was editing the Rangers site and somebody mentioned Alfredo Morales. So I'd obviously crossed the Raul from Jimenez and Morales from Rangers site, because I was reading that same time. That's all it was. Sorry. But yeah,
I don't. I
I'd
don't.
forgotten about
I,
Raul Morales till you said that. The bald-headed player that went to Chelsea, he was friggin' awful. Oh, it was horrible. I really didn't like him at all. Scored a few goals, a few wonder goals from range that made people think he was great. So, but yeah, he wasn't a good player. Couldn't pass, couldn't tackle. Most of his shots went just like miles over the bar and that. So. By the way, when we were on West Ham, we never mentioned Karen Brady getting she got paid something like £2.4 million last year. £1 million bonus. I mean, what fucking hell was she getting a bonus for?
yeah, I was gonna say for what? Doing fuck all.
I mean, it wasn't like they were doing well last season, was it?
Well, last season they were doing pretty well. They ended up qualifying for Euro. Let's just forget. Yeah, they're
No,
playing in the.
sorry, 20. It would have been the season before because it's the last season's financial results
Yeah, they
would
were
be.
playing in the Europa League last
Yeah,
season.
yeah. I was just realising that's why I'm getting mixed up, isn't it? It's because it wouldn't be last season when they didn't do so well because they struggled a bit last season, didn't they? They started well and then fell off last season, but it's the season before it'll be because it'll be a year behind, won't it? The financial results. Sorry, my bad. Yeah, you're right. So it doesn't
I
seem
think
so
I
bad
think they
then.
lost to Eintracht Frankfurt in the semi-final. So for West Ham getting to the
Yeah,
semi-final of
yeah,
Europa
they
League,
did get very far. So
no,
yeah,
no, yeah, maybe Eintracht, but
yeah, it
whoever
was
like I
it
think
was Eintracht, the ones that went
yeah,
on to win it.
yeah, I think they reached semi-final. So it's a huge success for them.
Mm. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, to be fair, I can understand now why she got a big bonus because she is the CEO. So, not sure she needed £1 million, right? But I mean, she's a multi-millionaire already,
Well, the world doesn't work like that, Chris.
Yeah, I mean, I could think of better things they could have done with that million that would have helped the club more. But yeah, there you go.
Yeah, for starters, hire us to be their
Well, yeah, exactly. We
recruitment.
could have been transfer gurus for them.
Yeah.
Yeah, run the scouting department and that. I reckon we'd do a good job of that.
So transfer guru, please. Who would you sign for West Ham? I don't think we mentioned.
Oh yeah, good question. Because we were too busy talking about needing to change the manager. Ooh.
I think the centre mid, but
I think.
again, like they did sign a centre mid who doesn't get played.
I think that's the problem. Is you're looking at who Moyes is going to play, and it's only going to be defenders. So you can't really sign anyone to help their team. I mean, the first thing you've got to address is what's happening with Rice.
It seems like he's not going to sign a new contract, and
No, exactly.
they have to cash in now.
Yeah, so that's the thing is they need to be looking at what they're doing with him and make a decision, cash in or keep. And I think personally I would cash in and I'd use the money to improve the rest of the squad. And what they're desperately for, they need forwards. I mean, but you're looking at, Bowen's out of sorts. They need some,
Completely gone off the rails now this
yeah.
season. From being touted as being uh, an option for Liverpool as a Salah replacement, now he's like not even an afterthought.
He's struggling to be a replacement for himself now, isn't he?
Yeah.
I, do you know what? I was trying to. I think that might maybe they could put Antonio back on the right and buy a striker. I don't know. I mean, for me, I think Antonio's a weak link, and I think they'd be better replacing him. But
Yeah, but they did try and replace him. They just like we all like we talk about West Ham, you just come around and say like, but Moyes doesn't play them.
Exactly, and that's where your problem is. How can you replace it? Buy a player for them? Say this is the player you'd buy for them when you know full well he's only going to sit on the bench anyway. So it's pointless. The key thing is they need to replace the manager.
And do they still play Aaron Cresswell as left back?
Yes,
That might be a
That's desperately needs to replace him.
yeah.
But again, what's the point? Because Moyes won't play them. I mean, they desperately need a left back. They desperately need a striker, and it took him 3 years to buy a fucking striker, for God's sake. Now, how long is it going to take him to replace the left back position?
We'll see. We'll see.
I mean, why not go? Pochettino's available. Okay, he's not the greatest manager in the world. He's not going to take them to. He's not going to turn them into a top 4 team. But he can certainly build on what Moyes has done.
Yeah, but he may not actually come and join West Ham. That's the issue.
Yeah, and that is the question: is would he join West Ham? But I would certainly, if it was me, I'd be asking him if he would, at least.
Yeah, but I have a suggestion if they can't get him. You want to make a guess?
I was waiting. It's gonna be. Is it Ralph Rangnick? Because
No, it's Adi Hutter.
oh, for fuck's
Don't
sake.
forget Adi Hutter, baby.
I was gonna say the other one. It could have been this Hansi Flick.
No, but both are occupied.
Yeah.
Rannick is with Austria and
Oh yeah, of course.
Flick is at Germany.
Oh,
Yes,
it's
Adi Hutter. You have to go for Adi Hutter.
Yeah, I'm sure he'd be. Oh God. It just I couldn't cope if you had there'd just be too much excitement. I think you might I think your heart might burst with excitement if you had Cody.
No, just imagine. Adi Hutter takes over at West Ham. Liverpool are playing West Ham.
That's what I mean. Could you imagine?
Okay, Cody Gakpo scores a hat-trick. And then West Ham would draw the game 3-3 with a last-minute goal. Oh my word.
You wouldn't be able to cope. You wouldn't. You'd be like.
I would need to change my underwear, man. Come on.
Every time you say Cody,
Gakpo.
you have to change your underwear. So you know. Guys, can you imagine it? Oh my God, no. Oh, you added Addy Hood
Well,
as well.
I think we should lead the folks with the of me having to change my underwear every time. Pretty Gakpo scores.
And I'm not going to tell you what is he needs to change his underwear for. It would be excitement, but I'll leave you to guess how excited he got. Yeah, which bit of excitement he got. Yeah, we'll leave you to decide that for yourself because it really doesn't bear thinking about. Though if Rob's listening, I know because he was telling me he wants to challenge you to a rematch at the chess. By the way, he said it's your fault because you haven't given him a rematch. He wanted a rematch. So your love affair's still there, mate. You still got a chance with him. He's not given up on you yet.
Okay. Anyways, I think that's
we'll see you next Thursday.
Alright. See you next Thursday, Trace. Bye bye. Thanks for having me.
No, we won't be. It won't be next Thursday. We're thinking of doing a special on New Year's Day, possibly.
Yeah, but we shouldn't be making promises we can't.
We can't promise because we'll probably forget. That's what usually happens. Is I text you, say, "Are we doing the pod tonight?" After my alarm's gone off about 10 minutes before we're due to start, and you go, "Oh shit, I forgot it's Thursday." So we don't end up doing one. That's what usually happens. So we won't make a promise, but that's the plan. Well, if not, we'll do it as the next on Thursday. So
yeah, see you next time.
See you next Thursday.